What is up, team? And welcome back to the Technical Foul Podcast. As always, you're joined by the three of us. I'm Jack Anderson. To my right is JP Pusilowski. And to my left is Sanders Oakley. How are we doing today, boys?
As always, it's crazy when it wasn't this way 2 days ago.
We're just going to pretend. And it
Okay,
wasn't, I
okay.
mean, it's been this way like for 66% of shows the past couple weeks.
Yeah, no, it feels good to be back in my chair. Your cushion is shaped differently because you sit differently than I do, so that was weird.
You could have swapped cushions. That would have been pretty easy.
Yeah, I should have thought of that. I'm doing pretty great. I went bum to your brother mode this morning. I was supposed to play golf with my brother and dad, and didn't put it in my calendar, and so I just forgot and just didn't show up. And he texted me like 8:45, like, you still get to play, and I was like, I just woke up. I am not ready to play golf right now. So
Brutal.
very grateful that we're able to do the show earlier, so I can go. He's got a band concert tonight, and that concert got a lot more important when I slept through golf with him. So glad I will be able to do that.
Yeah, that should be fun. What instrument does he play?
Trombone.
Trombone.
Yep. All of us are brass. Not all of us. All the guys are brass. We're a very musical family.
But all different instruments.
Yes, I played trumpet. Played at all of high school and 4 years of college in the marching band, and then my brother plays baritone. My sister plays clarinet. They're both in the marching band, and then Harris is in high school and he plays trombone. My dad plays trombone, so we are a musical family, not an athletic family. Although I was often the most athletic kid in band, which was pretty cool. That was a cool feeling.
It's a low bar,
Yeah,
but still a cool feeling. I won't hate it.
Two-hand touch football after practice went hard because, I mean, I was literally out there I look like Lamar Jackson. I remember I ran a slant, caught the ball, was almost in the end zone, and a dude comes to tag me, and I hit the Lamar Jackson, like the highlight from high school where he stops, and the kid just went flying past. I think that's where I peaked athletically.
Yeah, probably.
But loved band, and excited to see him perform tonight.
Lamar plays tonight?
True? Yeah. The big...
No, you're talking about Harris.
Harris, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Thursday Night Football for a second.
No, not excited about
So
Thursday
now
Night
I'm
Football.
tracking a lot.
I probably
more.
won't be watching. There's two big basketball games tonight. The women's women's team plays at Texas Tech tonight, our first big matchup, and then the men's team is playing at Kansas State tonight. Thankfully, I think it's like a 6 o'clock tip and then an 8:30 tip, so I'll hopefully get to watch both.
The Spurs have one of their biggest games of the season tonight as well, because we play the Hawks and we have the Hawks first round pick.
Oh,
So we can get a little.
Where's it at?
I believe it's in San Antonio.
Okay.
Is
We're
this the
favored
only-
by
Just
1
making
point.
sure.
is this the only time you played them this year?
We'll probably play them once more.
You
I guess
play
we'll
'em-
play them twice.
I figured
The
that
way-
with 80-something games, you play every team twice.
So the 82 games, you play the other conference, the Eastern Conference. You play each of those 15 teams twice. Once at home, once on the road. That's 30 games. Then you play everyone in your conference, the 14 teams. You play them 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. And that is 56 games, and that's 76.
52 games, right?
52 games, and that's your 82. There you go.
Yeah. It'd be hard to
Yeah.
play 86 games in an
Yeah.
82-game schedule.
You could figure out a way to do it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can play up to 83, technically.
Really?
Because if you play in the NBA Cup
Finals.
it's not a regular season game.
Yeah, it doesn't count
That's
towards your
all right.
record, which is pretty.
And winning it gets you nothing, right?
You get money.
So that's big.
No, you get, what is it, 500K or is it 250?
Each or
I think
To each
500K
player.
each.
Okay.
It's like
Each
it's
player.
total split. So like that's when people are like, we're gonna go win this for the 15th guy on our roster,
Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
our two-way guys, the guys on the minimum, because 500K actually does
yeah,
make a big deal.
is
make a
because minimum
difference.
is still 7 digits, right? Or is it still 6 digits?
If they're a draft pick, it's at least 7 digits. If they're on a 2-way contract, it can be like 750K.
yeah. So you're almost doubling.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty fire,
Mhm.
especially for players in like Texas where you don't have to pay taxes on
That's
that.
why you want Darvin Ham as your assistant coach,
True.
because he's
never
2-0 all
lost.
time.
He's never lost an NBA Cup game.
Wow, shout
Yeah.
out him.
He's built different. How are we doing today, JP?
I'm doing good.
Bet.
I'm excited for the weekend.
Sure.
For multiple reasons. And then excited for next week. I'm not excited for the school that occurs amongst those 2 weeks.
Sure.
But everything other than school, I can't wait. I couldn't sleep last night because I was just thinking about all the really cool stuff
The festivities.
that are going to happen
Sure.
over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. Egg Bowl family coming into town. I'm supposed to be engaged on Saturday. All that. I can't wait.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we're just that's crazy. We're just throwing it out. Cool.
No, she's not
No
in
one's
the
in
chat.
chat.
Yeah, what if she
That's
goes
her
back
own
and
fault.
rewatches the live stream?
That's what you get for not supporting me.
It's pretty clear she doesn't, considering
She was in it
She
that
is-
one time. She caught him bad
she is-
talking the Crimson Tide.
she is convinced she's getting engaged tomorrow.
Really?
So she
Correct.
clearly does not come back and re-listen to the live streams to try and pick
Yeah.
up clues.
Yeah, clearly.
So
We're going to
Um,
watch Wicked tomorrow.
Oh, I'm ready to see that. I don't want to go see it yet because I don't want to be. Let me know how it goes. I'm interested to see if a bunch of people sing along because that's the thing I am not looking forward to. I'm ready to go see part 2 because I never saw the play. I listened to a couple of the songs like over the past like 8 years, and then so I don't know the story. Saw the first one with my family, and we are all on a cliffhanger. None of us know what happens in part 2, and so we've tried to stay off of social media,
Sure,
avoid spoilers
Well,
for
have
the
you
past.
seen The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, but I still don't know. Like I know how the end, right? But I don't know
you
how
know
we
how you
get
get there.
Okay.
I don't know
sure,
how we
gotcha.
get there.
I see.
And so I don't want to avoid spoilers for
Yeah.
the how we get there. And I also don't want to go to a theater full of like high school show choir people singing along. But I don't know. We'll see. That'll be probably over Christmas break when I'm back home and all my siblings are back home. We'll all go see it together with my parents.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if I'll be able to predict what songs will blow up on TikTok
Ooh.
as I watch the movie on Friday.
Sure. I can't wait to.
Because there are about 5 or 6 of them that really blew up, and we're all over TikTok.
No more than that.
I mean, musicals are just they just got catchy music, man.
They do.
It's
Some
just
of them
something
do.
about it.
I've
Some of them
not
don't.
seen Wicked.
He
And I won't-
refuses
and I won't
to
watch
see-
it.
He
Have you seen
hates
Hamilton?
Ariana Grande.
I've seen Hamilton.
Okay.
And I mean, most musicals have catchy music, but there's also so many musicals we don't know anything about, and that's because I'd imagine their music sucks.
He raises a fair point.
Maybe I'm different, and Sanders is different as well, since he has a band background, I have a choir background, so
I do.
We're around theater kids more often.
Yeah, but he does raise a good point. There are probably a lot of musicals out there that we don't know about.
I know a lot. I could name
Pirate
probably
Queen?
25 musicals.
You ever heard of Pirate Queen?
Never heard of it.
Terrible.
Okay.
Listen to all of it through on Spotify. Me and Chromie one time. Bad. Just not enjoyable. Not an enjoyable listen.
That's funny.
But like Hamilton's fine. Hamilton's good. I've just heard it a ton.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of other
I
musicals
still
now.
love Hamilton.
Waitress. I don't know if you've.
Never heard of it.
Pitch Perfect.
Waitress is an interesting one
That is a
because
musical.
I know.
the movie Waitress came out first, and then they based a Broadway musical off of it, which is impressive because Waitress, the movie, is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Mhm.
So I'm very confused how someone watched that and was like, this is what we need. But it's one of the most famous Broadway musicals of all time in terms of like
Really?
popularity and runtime.
Interesting.
So I guess the idea just didn't work in movie form.
My mom was okay. This is a to keep the tangents going.
Go
Sure.
ahead.
You talk about one of the longest running musicals. My mom went and saw, and brother went and saw a movie about a play. And the play is not a musical, but you said longest running musicals and made me think. This play has been running for like, it was an Agatha Christie play. And there's a thing in the contract of the play where they can't make a movie about the play until the play ends.
Sure.
And so no one knows how the murder mystery ends unless you go and see it. And like at the beginning, they like make everyone there like promise to not tell anyone. And so like if you look up the play on Wikipedia, the ending's not in Wikipedia. And so there's a play that's been running and no one knows how it ends unless you go see it in person. And then they just made a movie where there's basically not about the play because it's against the rules, but there is a murder. It's a murder mystery based on like, people who are performing the play, if that makes sense. It's really like, I don't know, meta is the word.
Yeah, yeah.
But I kind of want to go. I want to see that movie potentially because my mom said it was really good.
I've
But
not heard anything about it.
yeah,
I just
That
watched
does sound cool.
The Materialist last night
Mm-mm.
with Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Dakota
yeah.
Johnson.
Mhm.
That came out last year.
Terrible.
I don't get how that movie had so much advertisement.
Because Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson,
and Chris Evans are in it.
But it
It wasn't good.
No,
I heard
not worth
zero good things about it.
Considering the trailers that
Yeah.
you just got blasted in your face for about 3 months,
I mean,
not worth it.
around the time the movie came out, Pedro Pascal was probably a top 5 hottest actor
Yeah.
in the world, if not higher. Like he could
As
have
in,
probably made a
like,
legitimate
popular?
case. Yes,
Yeah.
like hot on the streets.
Yeah.
Everyone knew his name. He's a fairly attractive. I always call him a young man. I don't think he fits that bill,
Mm-hmm.
man. But like that's not what I meant by hottest.
Yeah.
You know, I don't sit here talking about how striking people's eyes are. That's not exactly my job on the podcast. Per
I
se.
mean, I'll be the one to say it. If a guy's got striking, or a girl, if a person has striking eyes, like, I'll say it.
You're just an equal opportunist.
Facts.
Yeah,
Wait,
fair
no,
enough.
don't quote Summer I Turned Pretty on me like that.
And you just said facts.
Yeah, it's because I was
So-
talking faster than my mind was moving.
I mean, you just agreed. You just agreed. Shall we get into the reason we're here? I guess, which is to preview some football games for the
Sports,
weekend.
Not,
Yes,
not
sports.
musicals.
I mean, there's always a proper place to talk about musicals.
True.
I just won't ever see Wicked, and that's fine.
Yeah, your fascination with hating Ariana Grande still just blows me away.
I just don't like her. So don't like her music.
I feel sorry for
She
her
has a
and
great
everyone
voice,
on that set.
but Yeah, I know. I know they're all torn
Have you
up
seen
about
those?
the fact I don't like
Have you
it.
seen those, JP? The videos and pictures of everyone from that cast and how skinny they look now.
Yeah, I saw that last night. That was on my feed.
It's scary.
Not a fan of it.
In what way? You're not a fan of?
Something's going on right there.
Okay, cool. We're all on the same page then.
Yeah.
It's a little nefarious, maybe. Underground,
Yeah.
under wraps, I guess. But Lucy showed me a tweet and was like, "Everyone on this set needs an insurer."
Have they done it with Jeff Goldblum? Can we compare him?
No, but we need to. We'll have to do that. We'll have to do our own investigative journaling
Yeah.
after the show
Yeah.
and figure out if he's okay or if this is. I don't know.
Just a female-related thing.
Yeah, exactly. Shall we get into the People's Poll?
Let's do it.
Cool. Take us away, Sanders.
This is the People's Poll. It's a website that I built, T25sports.com, that we all post our ballots for college football every week, and we love having friends, family, viewers do it alongside us. It generates a consensus poll, kind of like the AP, but you get to, instead of like just going to social media or seeing everyone say that the AP poll is bad or the college football playoff is bad, you can put out your poll, which is, I'm sure, 100% accurate and correct, and the only one you've seen that is correct. Big changes. There's now a basketball page. So we have a friend who has been adamant about a basketball top 25 for the last 3 years since I started the spreadsheet, which was, predated the website. And so it's really crazy because I built this initial website. It took about 2 months, and then the basketball page took a day. So just crazy how much you learn and how much that sticks with you when you're doing
Sure.
stuff like that, because there were a lot of problems I did not have to solve because I'd already solved them. Let's dive in to the People's Poll from this week. Let me be sure it is. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because it's very much covering me up right now. I'm going to try to.
Sanders is just gone.
Yep.
Doesn't
Covered up.
exist.
This is the People's Poll this week. I'm pulling it up. Here we go. At number 1, Ohio State takes back the number 1 spot this week. We've got 5 voters. I don't remember. Oh, I apologize. So we haven't done it. We haven't done an update in a couple weeks because I've been out. And did y'all update it last week? No, because we didn't have a lot of voters last
We
week.
did not, yeah.
Because me and Jack forgot to vote. Ohio State takes back the number 1 spot this week. Indiana is 1 point behind them in second place. A&M is still at third. So the top 3 teams are the same. Ohio State jumps back to number 1. Georgia's at 4. Texas Tech is 5. Oregon is 6. Those all moved up 1. Oklahoma leaps Alabama. This is, in my opinion, the best. You got to have Oklahoma, I think, just ahead of Alabama. And I think in the 8-9 or the 9-10 range makes a lot of sense. Notre Dame at 10. BYU at 11. BYU jumps up 4 after dismantling TCU. Is that right? So apparently our voters loved that win for them. Vanderbilt is at 12. Georgia Tech at 13. Miami and Georgia Tech switch spots. Georgia Tech at 13. Miami at 14.
Interesting.
Yep. Utah at 15. Utah jumped both USC and Virginia, who did not move. James Madison creeps into the top 20. JP.
Go Dukes.
Texas drops 10 spots after their loss on the road at Georgia. Michigan's at 20. North Texas is our second G5 team, ranked at 21. Missouri does not move at 22. And then Arizona, Tulane, and Houston round out our top 25, 3 teams that were not ranked last week. I don't have the conference breakdown or the biggest movers like I usually would, but do y'all have anything that stands out to you about this people's poll or specific ballots? Maybe some people who were higher on, lower on teams.
Well, first, just shout out the People's Poll for getting the Group of 5 rankings correct.
Yeah.
And having JMU as the highest ranked Group of 5. I think that's accurate. I think it's how it should be. The college football playoff rankings do not reflect that. I'm not sure if the AP does or not.
I think they do. I think AP does.
Okay, cool.
The AP does.
Shout out the AP then as well. We just got to get the college football playoff rankings on the same page because that's the one that matters the most. And then I would say the People's Poll matters second most, and then probably AP after that.
Yeah.
That's what really jumps out to me. My dogs, Houston, are back to rank. Go Cougars. Sneaking in at 25. I love that. Nothing crazy sticks out. I do think it's a little strange that Georgia Tech and Notre Dame flip-flopped
Yeah.
after the week they had.
I wonder how many voters we had last week and if that impacted.
It definitely did. It definitely did.
Um,
Because we don't have not
we had,
everyone
we had
votes
3 voters
every
last
week.
week. We had 3 voters last week.
So that's definitely why, because last week was an outlier for how low it was. But just like that just makes zero sense.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how our poll and also how the college football playoff handles. Me and Jack were talking about different scenarios last night. USC beating Oregon. How does the committee handle that? If Vanderbilt wins out and they've got 2 losses, Alabama wins out, they've got 2 losses, Oklahoma wins out, they've got 2 losses, Notre Dame wins out, they've got 2 losses. Just like how the committee handles all these 2-loss teams, I think that'll be interesting to see.
Not room for all of them.
Nope. I'll be interested to see how we handle it on our ballots and then how our voters handle it. But it's going to be exciting down the stretch to see how that wraps up. I'm excited to keep making changes to the website. It's been really fun to pick that up in the past couple days. I've got big ideas for other things I want to add.
Sure.
But that'll come in the future. Cannot wait for that. We can move on, I think, to our team. We ready for that?
We're starting with our team.
We are?
Wow.
I mean, I assume we always start with our team.
Do we always start with a different one of our teams, though?
Well, this is our team this week.
Would you say you were happy to have a break, having to talk about Blake Shapen and Kamario Taylor debacle?
I absolutely am.
That's
It's
fair.
I
probably shouldn't even brought it up.
I
to
still
you.
think about it. It still lives in
You were
my
thinking
brain.
about it
and
a ton last night.
I
can
was
confirm
thinking
that.
about it a lot last night.
There's no reason to think about it. It's
Nope.
settled.
It is
It's
set in
100%
stone.
settled. With that being said, that's not the our team, in air quotes, that we are talking about currently. The team we are talking about is BYU.
Yep.
And after a big win, a nice win last week, they go on the road to Cincinnati where they are favored by 2.5. If you think that spread's a little strange, JP will break it down for you in just a minute. The game kickoffs at 7 p.m. Cincinnati's on a 2-game losing streak. They're kind of trying to right the ship. After I think they lost their first game this season, won 7 straight.
Yep.
And then they've lost their past 2. And they've not really been the best performances from them. And so now they have to face a tough BYU team that rolls in. The definition of consistency is kind of what this BYU team is, the little engine that could just keep chugging along. So it's going to be a tough spot for Cincinnati to try and right the ship. But y'all's thoughts on this game?
Well, I mean, the reason the spread is 2.5 is because the teams haven't changed much in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks ago, Cincinnati had the same odds to win the Big 12 as BYU, essentially. They were about the same odds. Cincinnati then went on to play Utah, in which they were 9.5-point dogs. They got blasted, was kind of expected, given that they were 9.5-point dogs. And then they lost to Noah Fafita, who kind of lit them up last week. BYU, in their 2 weeks, kind of got dismantled by Texas Tech, according to some, and then blasted TCU. So really nothing has changed for really either of these two teams that much over 2 weeks. And 2 weeks ago, if they have the same odds to win the Big 12, then why can't they be pretty much BYU would be 5.5-point favorites on a neutral field. Is that insane? No, I don't think so at all. A lot of the casuals are seeing the spread and thinking it's insane. I urge you, if you haven't seen it, go watch Joel Klatt. Just the opening to picking this game, and he throws a full-on hissy fit over the spread being 2.5 points.
Really?
It's literally, for someone who is up there as one of the best professionals in the game and breaking down the game, It doesn't make any sense to me. Clearly shows that he doesn't really actually know
It's also just so
that much about BYU and Cincinnati.
to throw a hissy fit about a spread when like Vegas has their own model and everything. It's not like they're like have an anti BYU agenda or something. Like that's just what their model gave them, and so that's what they're going with. Give or take. It getting bet one way or the other.
But y'all are forgetting the most important. BYU's got an 11 next to their name, and Cincinnati has nothing. That's
And
all that matters.
And that's why he's throwing that hissy fit. That's one of the things I love about Pate is he doesn't overreact really to any spread. If he ever reacts, he reacts of, oh, well, the common person would look at this and say, oh, this is kind of an interesting spread. What does Vegas know here or something?
And he will disagree too, but he's not going to go like attack the spread. It's
yeah, but
just
when he
his
disagrees,
personal
he just
opinion,
makes it a best bet and moves on.
which
Yes.
is fire.
I know, that's fine. I'm doing that in the NFL
Yeah.
now as well. Since he, like I said, 2 games removed from being 7-1 and vying for a Big 12 title, the same story for this game, X's and O's wise, as it was for the Utah game that we previewed, is for Sorsby. If he throws 2 touchdowns or more, they win. If he has no picks, they win. In the 3 losses, he has 4 interceptions and 2 touchdowns through the air. He has 4 touchdowns on the ground in those 2 games, but he has to be efficient as a passer. In those 3 games that he's lost, he had 52% completion percentage, 54, and 33.3 against Utah. So that is the story of the game. BYU has to shut down Sorsby through the air. Sorsby outside of that, of course, is still terrific, and his stats on the entire season are still terrific. He's 22 touchdowns, 4 picks, and 9 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah.
He's been really, really good. And giving him a chance, and if you're not able to slow him down early on, he will blow you away, and he will score a ton of points. Cincy has to try to get out to another fast start. It was something I talked about a ton in that Utah game was they had never really trailed all season. They had never really been put in a tough spot. They're averaging 9.3 first quarter points per game. That's top 10 in the country. I wonder, does that even matter? Because with BYU, it's the one thing I've talked about every single time I've talked about them. Resiliency.
Sure.
They answer. They respond. They don't care. They'll turn the ball over early. Doesn't matter. They'll get back in the game. The only time they haven't done that is Texas Tech. But I'd argue they did. They're responding the next 4 quarters against TCU in a tough potential letdown game after that emotional letdown at Texas Tech. Since he's got to get out to a fast start, BYU as a team last week destroyed TCU and Josh Hoover, who profiles kind of similarly. He doesn't have the running threat that Sorsby has, but Hoover was just 10 for 23 for 183 yards and 2 picks. BYU had 4 sacks last week, and they get out the quarterback really well. On the Cincinnati hand, though, Sorsby has only been sacked 3 times this year.
Yep.
It's truly terrific. He's really been protecting himself as a quarterback. A lot of the time he'll scramble out of sacks, but he also does a really good job of getting the ball out early and avoiding pass rush, avoiding coverage sacks. I don't think he has a coverage sack at this point in the season. For BYU, another road game, but they've been given their talent profile, which is shown by, if you watch Josh Pate, his power ratings, his poll that he puts out every single week. Last year, he had to make an exception to put BYU in the top 20. This year, they finally have gotten into the top 20. Given their talent profile, they've been incredible on the road. That's not something you expect from a talent profile that isn't top 20 in the country. They're 9-2 as a team. Their 2 losses on the road, Arizona State, playoff team last year, Texas Tech, more than likely a playoff team this year.
Sure.
They have been incredible on the road, and I think they'll be up to the test here. The big one, and this is the mismatch for Cincinnati, they've got to turn this on its head. They're allowing 168 rushing yards per game, and BYU runs for 165. So if LJ Martin and Bear Bachmeier get going on the ground, they control the clock. They keep Sorsby off the field. It could be a tough night for the Bearcats. And then the other one is penalties. Cincinnati is 128th in penalty yardage per game.
That is brutal.
That's, what is it,
Out of
134?
136.
136. So bottom 10 in the country. They have 69.4 penalty yards per game. On the other hand, as you would expect if you think about BYU, they are disciplined,
Sure.
under 50 penalty yards per game, 44th in the country. Those are kind of the X's and O's wise. Do y'all have any X's and O's wise before we get into picking this one?
Yeah, I have a couple things. At BYU, I want to see their offensive line dominate as they should be able to, and they've done a pretty good job of that all season. Just a quality group. That's how you're going to keep Bear Bachmeier, in rhythm, on time, on schedule. That's how you're going to get LJ Martin going on the ground, kind of like what you touched on. And then for them defensively, and this is for Cincinnati offensively as well, Sorsby, like most college quarterbacks, is at his best when the scheme is cooking. He's getting open throws. He's not really having to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
When he's been forced to be a problem solver and really have to go make a ton of plays, it doesn't go well. He forces throws. He just misses throws. He has a great arm, so he can hit tough throws, but there's no consistency in that. He doesn't have an accurate arm a lot of times. So if you're as BYU, if you can just muddy it up a little bit, take away some of those RPO reads, get them a little bit confused, you're in great shape defensively.
He's not a gunslinger or a volume shooter.
No.
He's averaging 16 completions per game this year.
Mm-hmm.
For a quarterback, that's nothing.
They want to establish the run and then
Yes.
let him just hit some slants, hit some swing passes, occasionally take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't want the game to be in his hands, and I'm not hating on him. And I think they love what they have in him in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you don't want him to be the guy that throws the ball 30+ times because then he completes 11 of them.
Yep.
And if you complete 33% of your passes, you're probably not winning that game.
Not at all.
I'm also interested. So Cincinnati played it. Utah gave up 40+. They gave up about 30 to Arizona last week. I'm interested to see how the defense bounces back after a bad couple weeks. Is there a bounce back in them, or are we just kind of seeing more and more as they're playing some of the tougher teams in the Big 12? Because Arizona and Utah are easily top third teams in the Big 12, especially offensively. So, is there a bounce back, or are they just going to struggle against these top teams? So is BYU going to have an easy day moving the ball offensively? I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely fair.
I just want to say, so for as far as power rankings go, it's really impressive for BYU to be able to crawl in that top 20, because especially in college football, not so much in the NFL. I feel like in the NFL, models are more results and performance based. In college football, it takes some really spectacular performances and results to kind of outweigh the talent thing. And so for BYU to be able to kind of crawl into the top 20 in a model where you still have Penn State ranked, Clemson was ranked last week, I believe. It's just this is all referencing the JP poll because it's the only place I've seen just teams ranked in model form usually just get spreads. So shout out to him for that. But for BYU to be posting the results and the performances that have gotten them in there, that's a really hard thing. The talent portion of college football models is really hard to overcome.
Yeah, I think he said they made it was a 6.5 point jump or something with the TCU win last week because they were only 2.5 point favorites and they blew out TCU. The NFL ones are so result oriented because
The talent's equal.
Yeah, everyone's an NFL
Correct.
player. It's much different. 32 teams compared to 136. But we can get into picking this game. Either y'all want to start? Actually, no, it's to me because I am the leader.
You are the
I am
leader.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot.
Now that all three of us are back, we really got to
Yeah, we can
hone that
actually
in.
hone that
Which at
in.
this point, it's basically a 2-horse race.
A bad week from JP and a good week from you. If you pick every
if you pick
spread
the
different,
opposite.
But I already said last week I'm
I
not
know,
doing
I know,
that
I'm joking.
anymore.
I'm
So
BYU. Go ahead.
No, let's pick it, and then I can pose my question about how many more games we're gonna pick because we've got bowls and everything. There's still potentially a lot of football left.
I think bowl is completely irrelevant. I think
If we're previewing the bowl game, I'm fine
Yeah.
with picking
Yeah.
it.
but I think a bowl win-loss record tally is separate from the regular
Yeah.
season
Okay.
tally.
That's
Okay.
that college football mania thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
BYU 2.5 point favorites at Cincinnati. The spread makes complete sense. But given that it's 2.5 points, I'm all over BYU and the Cougars. I think they would have won this game regardless, and it's only 2.5 points. I'll take them to win by a field goal at Cincinnati against the Bearcats. 7 p.m. on Fox. I'm pretty sure RG3 is on the call.
Electric.
Give me Bear Bachmeier, LJ Martin have a really good day. I think they will sack Sorsby. I think he will have double the amount of times he's been sacked this year after Saturday night. I think he'll get sacked 3 times, and his number will be up to 6. Give me the Cougars to win one of the last 2 remaining to make that Big 12 championship game and win at Cincinnati.
I
Sure.
will go also BYU. I'll go second because I'm in second place right now in the standings. I'll also go BYU as a BYU fan, and then also the wisdom that JP has told us about when it's 2.5 or 6.5, you are better off taking the team that is favored. It's smarter. So I get to pick the team I want to pick and also get to have odds on my side.
Fair. Yeah. See, I'm sitting here and I'm probably the highest on Cincinnati of the 3 of us, or at least I was. But after the past 2 performances, and they've been against solid teams, but just especially defensively, I haven't liked at all what I've seen. And so if I'm a Cincinnati fan, I fear our ability to get stops in this game. And so I'm going to pick BYU to cover the 2.5 because of that. I think Cincinnati will score some, keep it kind of close. But when it comes down to it, LJ Martin, Bear Bachmeier, that offensive line, the outside weapons, I think they could score 30+, no problem. So
Cool. Which game do we? I think
it's up to you as Nancy Drew.
can't remember if these. I don't think these games are in kickoff order.
They definitely aren't because we just did a night kickoff to kick off the list.
Yeah, well, we had our team first,
Oh, okay,
obviously,
gotcha.
and then I can just look because I've got the kickoff times on here. 6 p.m. That is not early. I don't know that we have. That's a weird kickoff time. We can start here. Louisville SMU.
Cool. In the wild ACC, where the standings are muddied, so many teams are still fighting for their finish spot. Nothing's really settled up top. Louisville goes to SMU. Louisville has 2 conference losses. SMU still just has the 1. Louisville's coming off a tough loss to Clemson where they did not play well on Friday night. SMU's been playing well recently, has rattled off some wins. And SMU in this game is a 2.5-point favorite. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Well, if you just go look at their numbers, the one that just pops out immediately, passing game, Louisville versus SMU.
Yep.
Louisville 284 per game. That's top 20, 18th. SMU is 298.6 allowed per game, 135th out of 136 schools. Now, that being said, SMU shut down Miami. They shut down Carson Beck in the passing game, so it's not like they can't do it. They just haven't done it all season, and that'll be, I think, for me, the biggest question. Does Miller Moss and that passing attack with Chris Bell get going against SMU? 11 a.m. kick. Are you up to play? Are you ready to play for the Mustangs? Is that home crowd environment really any of a factor like it was for the most part against Miami? Those kind of factors right now lean towards Louisville. Most of the scenarios for the ACC we're most likely looking at Georgia Tech versus Virginia. But if one of those teams lose, it's SMU's spot to get.
Yep.
That's how the scenarios play out right now for the ACC. So SMU does need help. They need Virginia to either lose at Virginia Tech, and Virginia plays.
They don't play anyone this week. They're on a bye.
That's right. They just
So
had the
literally
Virginia
have
Tech
the last
game, and Georgia Tech just has this game against Pitt that we'll preview later. Those are the only 2 avenues. One of those teams have to lose, and SMU has to win their final conference game, their final 2 conference games.
Yeah.
In the ACC to make it.
And
How is it SMU's game spot to get if Pitt also has 1 loss?
I saw someone did the
the
predictions,
tiebreaker or whatever.
and the tiebreakers, and they put percentages on likelihood. Right now, I think it's like 38%. We're looking at Georgia Tech, Virginia.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 most likely scenarios are SMU is in the ACC championship
Gotcha.
against one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, and I actually misspoke. Louisville has 3 conference losses. It's been a tough stretch for them. They started off hot. They lose the game to Virginia, and then they dropped the one to Clemson where they really feel like they shouldn't have. And
Yeah.
then Miller Moss is in the press conference talking about how basically there's issues with this team in terms of discipline, and they need to
Yeah.
get that fixed. And so I feel like the vibes aren't really that good for Louisville. And now, like, you're playing for absolutely nothing. Even with the 2 conference losses, your odds were really bad. You lost the 3rd last week. So, like,
Yeah.
how do you come out ready for this game when it seems like the team is not very cohesive, the chemistry isn't great right now, there's discipline issues, and now you're also not really playing for anything? I'm interested to see how that
Yeah,
looks.
I think that Louisville, like you said, has struggled down the stretch. They peaked. They get that. They lose to UVA, and then they turn around and immediately beat Miami on the road. Miami was ranked number 2 at the time. They've got all this momentum. They win 2 straight, and then they hit the slide. They lose to Cal in OT by 3, and then lose to Clemson by 1 last week. But I think that this game is still a really, really cool matchup because Louisville is the team that we've seen hit those highs, and SMU is the team who's in the playoff last year, and now they're like you said in the running for another ACC championship appearance. So I think it's a great matchup of like maybe like it's a matchup that's easy to overlook, which is why it's one I wanted to highlight because you think, oh, it's Louisville at SMU, neither team's ranked, it doesn't matter, Louisville's got 3 losses, but it's still a really, really important matchup. And then to what JP said earlier, as far as X's and O's goes, that passing offense that Louisville has, I'm really interested to see how the SMU defense plays. Because all season long, I've got it in my notes, they've played with that bend, don't break defense. They have just been awful in yards per game. They've allowed, I think, they're 100 and, like you said, 135th in opposing pass yards per game.
400
but
yards
they are
per game.
90th in opposing yards per game and 3rd in opponent red zone scoring percentage. So
Yeah.
basically, they're letting teams trot down the field unopposed, and then it gets into the red zone, and they're number 3 in turnover margin. So that means they're getting interceptions, they're forcing fumbles.
That's what happened to Miami.
It's really impressive from them that they're able to do that, but it's definitely not if you're a fan, it's something you hate watching.
It's got to be terrible.
You hate watching teams tear through you and then getting the stop in the red zone, forcing field goals. Even if you're forcing field goals, it just is really miserable football to watch. And then they also cannot get off the field. Their time of possession is 129th at 44%. So that goes into that. You're letting opposing offenses live on the field, walk down, and then right before you break, you're like getting the stop, getting the turnover.
It makes sense that their defense is pretty good in the red zone given the way it profiles. If you struggle in coverage, it's a little easier to play in the secondary in coverage when your backside's protected. You can kind of play with everything in front of you.
Yep.
And then the run defense is pretty solid. They're pretty good up front. So it's not like they're just absolutely getting mowed down in the run game to where, oh, we can't pass on you in the red zone anymore. Well, we're just going to go run it. That's not necessarily how that's going to work. And that is another interesting thing, too, that's been noted with Miller Moss is as much as he spreads the ball around and as good as he is as a passer, and you have Colin Lacey and Bell there, they don't really stretch the field vertically. It's a yards after catch offense. It's a short pass offense. So I'm wondering if that's maybe something that SMU can handle a little better. I'm not sure, but it's just a thought.
I'll also be interested to see what kind of game we get from Miller Moss. In those couple losses that we talk about, he's had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the last, I think, 4 weeks. Yeah. So he had 2 games with no touchdowns, and like I said, he's got 1 touchdown in 2 games, 3 interceptions. But he had that really great stretch in the middle of the season, including the Miami game, where he had 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So I'll be interested to see if he can kind of get unspooked or whatever has happened to him, because he played good teams in that midseason stretch that he had. But the recent struggles have kind of lost them a couple games. I'm not going to put it entirely on him. The team lost the games, but maybe if he can go out and throw another touchdown in one of those games or a touchdown in 2 of those games, they can come out with wins.
Sure.
But I'll be interested to see what kind of Miller Moss game we get.
I think the only thing I'm interested in, and on top of all that, is do either of these teams care about the game? Because
Yes.
both of these teams at points in the season have had clear playoff implications. They've clearly wanted to go to the playoff. I would assume in moments thought they will make the playoff. We're in contention to win the ACC at multiple times. Both teams have been ranked at some point in this season.
Yeah.
And now they're both unranked, both 7-3. And if it was a normal year, if it was even if it was like the 4-team era, I think they would care more about trying to get to 9-3, winning those last 2 games. Louisville winning this one at SMU and then going and beating Kentucky at home. SMU caring about their final 2 games as well. 9-3 could be a pretty good bowl game in a normal year, and I wonder if either of those teams care about that to any degree in this game.
Sure.
Does Jeff Brom, is he looking towards the future as well, the head coaching?
He just got his extension too, so like he's
And then with Rhett Lashley, is he looking towards the future in his future coaching spot? Extensions are great, but they may not mean everything. Things can change. I don't think it'll change with Jeff Brom, though, with him getting his extension. But there's been some questions inside their own buildings of, is our head coach leaving at some point? I wonder how much of the vibes play out in this game. But with that being said, we can get into picking it. SMU is a 2.5-point favorite at home, hosting Louisville. I'm going to take Louisville to cover 2.5, which goes against what we talked about earlier with the spreads. But I think Louisville is the better team. I think Louisville will have the better performance. I think Louisville cares more. And with their coach getting their contract extended, I also think they have the matchup advantage with their pass offense versus SMU's pass defense, which is the second worst in the country. Give me Louisville to upset SMU on the road.
That's also what I was going to pick. So that's crazy.
in lockstep.
Now we see, does Jack take his opportunity? You got that -2.5?
I'm not necessarily taking my opportunity, but I am taking SMU to cover. Talk about vibes, JP. I just don't like the vibes around Louisville right now. I think if a team is going to come out flat and not ready to play and not inspired, not motivated, I think Louisville is way more likely to be that team than SMU.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take SMU to win at home. We've seen them have big performances at home already this season. They beat Miami, and I think they can do it again.
And as far as, like, do these teams care, I pick Louisville because I think they're the better team. But I think SMU still has a lot to play for, right? You win out, and that's your best chance at winning the getting to the ACC championship. And so I don't expect them to just come out, especially at home. Hopefully they've got a crowd there. With that one ACC loss, they've still got a lot to play for. And unlike JP, I think that teams do still care about conference championships. I think that they'll come out and they'll play. So we got our 3 picks. We've got 3 games left. Let me see.
In college, that is.
In college. The earliest game is this 12 o'clock kickoff. Is this a CW game? 12 o'clock feels like a CW game.
No, I'm pretty sure it's on ESPN Plus.
Wow.
Even better. I think I'd rather be on the CW.
Really?
I mean, the CW it's where movies are made. It's where cinema happens.
True.
You don't beat that. The amount of chaos we've had on the CW. If I'm Washington State, at least, I definitely want to be playing on the CW. Though I don't think the CW has been very kind to Washington State. I'd be interested to see what their record is playing ACC teams on the CW, because I know they lost by 2 points on the safety to Virginia on the CW.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough. That's off the point. Washington State travels cross-country. Again, they've already done it once, but they travel to JMU to face the Dukes in a game that matters a lot for JMU potentially, and for Washington State, it's just a chance to get another win. It's been a disappointing season for them. With that being said, JMU is favored by 13.5 at home. Maybe a slightly surprising spread, but I think it just speaks to the quality of JMU as one of the best group of 5 teams. And then there's the struggles that Washington State's had all year, especially in consistency. The biggest stat for me in this game is JMU is top 10 in the country in rushing yards per game.
Yep.
And Washington State is 30th in the country in rushing yards allowed. It's kind of the strength of their team. And even when you think about some teams they played, they held Ole Miss to under 200 rushing yards a game and kept that game close. They held Virginia to right around 100 rushing yards a game, and Jamari Taylor's had great success there on the ground in a lot of games. So they've proven that against good rushing attacks, they can have success slowing it down. So I'm interested to see how that plays out on the field Saturday.
Yeah, I'm really curious. For JMU, do they, again, play pissed off? Because for whatever reason, the committee has decided to rank Tulane as the 24th best team in the country. And
Tulane's head coach doesn't even agree with it.
I don't agree with it as well. Tulane got blown out by the school up north and lost to
UTEP?
UTSA.
UTSA.
and the Roadrunners, who are a 5-5 American team.
Lost by
right now.
22, I think.
Yes, blown out, 26-48, if I'm not mistaken. But apparently the 24th best team in the country. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. JMU sits here at 9-1 as what I would argue a top. They're in the teens at least. Team in the country. They deserve the right to go play in the college football playoff. If for the committee and all the weird things that they use as explanation for their rankings, how about we just use Tulane played at Ole Miss against a team that's going to be in the playoff. Okay, well, let's put Tulane in the playoff. Oh, how did that game go? Pretty sure it's 45-10. Not close at all. I think JMU deserves to be in. If that's could just be an explanation of, already saw Tulane go on the road in a playoff game, which is what the 12 seed is going to do, and it didn't go well. Maybe JMU has a better fighting chance. They've gone on the road to Louisville and only lost by 14, and that game was closer than 14 points. Louisville's not a playoff team, but they also beat Miami, who at the time was the number 2 team in the country. I digress, though, mainly because we're all angered that JMU isn't ranked higher or ranked at all.
That's why I said this game kind of maybe matters, because at this point it's I don't believe there's anything JMU can do to change the committee's mind. I think their mind's made up about the Sun Belt and JMU as a whole, and they've made up their mind that the group of 5 team is going to come from the American.
Yeah.
If Tulane loses, I just fully expect, North Texas is now kind of the team in that spot. So that's why it's this game kind of matters, because theoretically I guess JMU does still have a shot, but it just doesn't feel like that's reality.
And the North Texas thing could matter, which is where the common opponent could come into play if you're comparing the two teams. Washington State played at North Texas. They lost 59-10. So that was not a close game at all. So JMU has to do the same.
Yeah.
Being at home, they need to double up, if not triple up, on the spread of 13.5.
Which is scary, because if sometimes a team that knows they have to come out and dominate and they start trying to press from the jump, you start making mistakes and stuff like that, and it can go sideways on you.
JMU's not prone to mistakes.
True.
They have to avoid penalties in this game. They're 129th in yards per game. That's bottom 7 in the country. It's 69 penalty yards per game. Washington State, like we have said, they hung close with Ole Miss and Virginia, both on the road, but they were blown out by North Texas and Washington in the Apple Cup. Washington State, their quarterback play has been atrocious this year. Zevi, their current starter, is 10 touchdowns, 8 picks. Offensively, they don't do anything well. They don't run the ball well. They're 99th in the country. They don't pass the ball well. They're 97th in the country. And they will be facing strength versus strength, as Jack said. Top 30 for Washington State defensively in both passing and rushing categories. JMU is the 7th best rush offense in the country at 234 per game with Knight and Alonzo Barrett, and they run a couple of backs as well on top of that. That is the key to it, is how well does Washington State hold up against the run versus JMU. And then this game very easily could look like the Virginia and the School Up North game earlier this year, both on the road. Washington State has a defense that will travel, and like Jack said, they slowed down the run game for both of those teams that rely a good part on the run. Sanders, any things on this one before we get into picking it?
No, y'all already hit on the big one I had was, does JMU feel defeated already? Because in their eyes, they've done everything they can, dominating every team except for that Louisville game where they lose a close one at Louisville. Do they feel defeated, I guess, at this point, because it feels like it doesn't matter what we do, we're not going to get the respect we deserve? Or do they use that as fuel for the fire and they come out and they play, like you said earlier, pissed off? I don't know what we're going to get. I would lean towards them coming out pissed off and dominating in this game, but there's a real world where they come out and, like you said, they're trying too hard. They're trying too hard to impress the committee, trying too hard to earn that spot in the top 25 to be that G5 team, and it ends up tripping them up, and they stumble here near the finish line. I'm not sure which we'll get. I hope we get the best of them. I want to see them play at their best. Because right now, I do think they deserve to be the team out of the G5 in the playoffs, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah, I agree. Shall we pick this game?
Let's pick it. JP?
Start with me. I'm going to take JMU to win and cover. I'm going to take the Dukes minus the 13.5. I think they'll play pissed off. I think they'll be ready. I think they'll run all over that really good Washington defense, but that Washington State defense. I also don't think Washington State's going to have much success moving the ball down the field, as evidenced by what they've put on tape through 10 games this season. And so I'll take JMU to cover 2 touchdowns. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout. I don't think it'll be like the North Texas game, but I think it's in the 20s.
Yeah.
Give me the Dukes to win and not change the committee's mind because I doubt the committee has ESPN Plus.
Probably not.
I will go JMU as well. I just feel like other than that Ole Miss game, I haven't heard a lot about Washington State and their ability to compete. So I will go with JMU covering here because they have played well against every team on their schedule.
Yeah, I'm also going to take JMU. Go Dukes. Just get the job done. Win by 3 touchdowns. Try your best to change the committee's mind. I think it's a futile endeavor, but I can dream and I can hope. So JMU to cover. And we can move on to our next game.
Cool. Let's see. We got USC at Oregon. That's 2:30.
Yeah,
and I think the other game is a night game.
It
so
is.
USC at Oregon.
The crown jewel of the Week 13 slate, I would say. It's a Big Ten game. Interestingly enough, a Big Ten game on the West Coast between 2 former Pac-12 schools. But USC goes up to Oregon, and what a lot of ways it's not definitive in this sense, but feels almost like a win-or-go-home game in terms of the playoff for both of these teams. Oregon could still get in at 10-2 if they lose this one and then win next week. USC already has the 2 losses, so they definitely have no room for error. But with that being said, Oregon is favored by 10.5 at home as USC comes to town. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Sanders, you want to go first, or I got it?
You got it.
So USC is the big one that everyone's been talking about. It's the run game. Oregon being able to run all over USC. USC gave up 306 on the ground to Notre Dame, 170 to Illinois, and then 183 to Iowa. Oregon is leading the Power 4 in yards per carry with 6.3 yards per carry. They're second in the country to only who?
Wait, in like rush
In yards per carry.
Army.
Navy.
I was gonna be my second guess.
Tough.
Yes. The team that runs the option and basically only
I should have
runs the
gone
ball.
Navy. Navy's better this year than Army.
So that is the big one. And for a lot of previews, and we'll make it our preview as well, if Oregon runs the ball really well in this game, nothing matters because they'll be able to control the clock. They'll be able to keep USC's high-power offense off the field, and they will score more points than USC, and they'll win. And that's how you win a game, is score more points.
In goal right there.
If that doesn't happen or they're slowed down a little bit, USC has a fighting chance in this game, and the Trojans have a chance in this game. Dan Lanning is 24-2 at home. Their 2 losses, Indiana this year, and then who?
Washington.
Correct. Washington
Shout
and
out
Kalen
Penix.
DeBoer, who is 3-0 against Dan Lanning in 2022. Washington and the Huskies beat Oregon in Kinnick Stadium. Not Kinnick Stadium, Autzen Stadium. That
Yep.
was Iowa Stadium. USC, on the other hand, which I wouldn't even say on the other hand, under Lincoln Riley, they've been bad on the road. They're 10-9 overall at USC. This year they've been a little bit better, but not great. The Purdue game was really slow. They did not cover the spread in that game. The Illinois game, they, of course, lost competitively. The Notre Dame game, they lost competitively. And the Nebraska game, some argue they escaped because Dylan Raiola got hurt, and they played with a backup quarterback for much of the second half. That right there is another thing that just leans towards Oregon. It just doesn't look good for USC there. It's another reason people are picking Oregon to win this game, and that's why your spread is around 10.5 points. For Oregon, they've had major injury troubles the past 2 weeks, especially the Iowa game, which was really concerning because you go into a bye week and you think you get healthy, and then all of a sudden DeCorian Moore and Kenyon Sadiq don't play. Sadiq played last week, had a career day against Minnesota. DeCorian Moore is probably going to play this week. And then Josh Pate even said that Evan Stewart might play this week, which is crazy.
That didn't he pop his was
He
it
tore his-
Achilles
it's
or knee?
patellar.
Knee.
Patellar
thank you.
tendon,
Yeah.
that's right.
Wait, where's the patellar?
It's in the knee.
That's okay.
I'm assuming. I mean, the patella is your kneecap, so I'm assuming the patellar tendon is attached.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that he wouldn't go out as much as saying it would actually happen, but he introduced the idea, and if he's introducing the idea, I think there's some legs to it. So Oregon's getting healthier, which will help them a ton in this game, especially against that high-power offense if this becomes a shootout, which I think it has the potential to do. Forecasted was expected to rain throughout the week in this game, and that's why the run game was being talked about a ton. USC defensively has gotten a lot better, and they've been really good this year at forcing turnovers. They've forced 1.6 per game to Oregon's 1.4. So if the turnover battle sways the way of USC, that is going to help tremendously. It's not something that they have to really switch the narrative on. They just got to continue to do it. They've got to turn Dante Moore over. They've got to force, if it's raining, they got to force fumbles on those slippery, soapy balls, as Kalen DeBoer would like to say. It feels like, for me, this is the biggest one for me, and this is the biggest key to the game for me. It feels like USC has to be aggressive.
Sure.
A lot of four-down territory, a lot of going for it, and they've been good at it this year. They are 12 for 18 this year on fourth down. Oregon, on the other hand, how would you guess their fourth down defense is? Mid, good, bad?
Good.
Bad.
It's terrible.
Let's
Wow.
go.
It's 100.
I won the coin
It's
flip.
124th in the country in fourth down conversions allowed per game. They're 127th in fourth down conversion percentage, 71.43%. Now, a large part of that is because teams will be really aggressive versus Oregon, but teams are 17 for 24 on fourth down against Oregon. That's really, really good. Penn State was 3 for 3. Iowa was 3 for 4. Indiana, who beat Oregon, was only 0 for 1. So they only went for it once, not a very aggressive performance from which you wouldn't expect from Kurt Cignetti. But even some of the bad teams, Wisconsin and Rutgers. Wisconsin was 2 for 3. Rutgers was 3 for 4. In those games, the quarterbacks passed for 88 and 79 yards. So it's not even like high-profile offenses whatsoever, and yet teams were picking up first downs. Now you have Lincoln Riley. You have this offense that's averaging 489 yards per game. You have Jaden Mayava. You have King Miller. You have Makai Lemon. Like, weapons all over the field for this USC offense. That is the key to the game. If USC is perfect on fourth down, I think they win this game. If they're 3 for 3, I think it will be the 3 most critical fourth downs of the game. I think they'll win it. If they are 2 for 4, 2 for 5, it's a completely different story. And for me, that is the key to the game. And how I would pick this game is how you feel that one, which way that would go.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I didn't realize Oregon was so bad. For me, it's like if USC wants to go win this game, you have to go win it in your style under Lincoln Riley, which is skill position players are dogs, and they're going to have to go make plays. You just mentioned them, but Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, like they're going to have to make big-time catches all day. Mayaba's going to have to make big-time throws all day, maybe get a little bit with his legs if the opportunity's there, get King Miller involved. Because we just saw Oregon a couple weeks ago go into Iowa and out-physical Iowa, and I don't trust USC to walk in and be like, man, we're about to go toe-to-toe in the trenches with Oregon. I just don't see that happening. So the offense is going to have to really show out, and the skill position guys in the offense is really going to have to show out against what has been a good coverage unit. I mean, think about the pick six against Mendoza. That has been a good secondary, kind of led by Dylan Thieneman at safety for Oregon. So it's a tough task, but I just think that's the only way they can win the games. If we're sitting there after the game going, holy crap, like, do I take Makai Lemon? Is he going to be the first wide receiver off the board as a slot guy in the draft? Takes like that are going to be flying around.
Yeah, and this is big for Oregon because it is game 2 in a 3 out of 4 game stretch that people have been talking about for a month or two now that Indiana game, since the Penn State and Indiana game. So they win at Penn State on the road. It's a huge win. Penn State's number 2 or 3 at the time, I believe. Lose to Indiana in your own stadium, and then everyone goes, well, we won't know anything else about this team for another month. And then they go to Iowa and win a close game in a very Iowa manner. They had to go and play Iowa football at Iowa. And then met Minnesota last week, but these last 2 weeks of the season are huge. USC at home and at Washington. This is kind of their opportunity to really prove themselves, cement themselves in the playoff. If you drop one of those, I think especially if you drop this one, but if you drop either of these 2 games, it can really come into question of whether or not this is going to be a playoff team, because we have seen the committee take recency into account very heavily. How you're playing right now matters a lot more than how you're playing on September 27th, because at the time the committee cast their final rankings, that'll have been 2.5 months ago. A month and a half ago. So I think that'll be 2.5 months ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because right now I don't know that Oregon is playing their best football. They started out and they looked dominant against some lesser teams. They win that Penn State game, but here they almost lose that Iowa game. Took a game-winning field goal, I think, won on a game winner.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now you've got these next 2 games. I think that's going to be really important to see is can they finish strong? How does that hold up?
If they lose this game, I think you look at the season as a complete failure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if you had told fans coming into the season you're going to lose to USC and Indiana at home, pretty bad. Even if Indiana and USC end up being playoff teams, I think this is a complete failure of a year. When you have a quarterback that's playing as well as Dante Moore, people in-house have been, and on that campus have been saying, maybe 3rd time's the charm.
Yeah.
And that this is the guy who's going to go out there and win the Heisman.
And then you supplement him with that run game that's been
Absolutely.
so elite.
Now he hasn't had the best luck with his injury health with his receivers. DeCorey Moore's been hurt for a few games, and then of course missing Evan Stewart for much of the year, and having to rely on just a true freshman as really your only true receiver is brutal. But he's handled that.
He's having to go Diego Pavia mode with Kenyon Sadiq, where your tight end is one of, if not your best weapon for a lot of the season.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're just hating on my fantasy wide receiver, Malik Benson. So
yes, we are.
Come on now.
That being said, going into picking,
Wow. I mean, golly, Sanders just
I looked at him like, who?
that's
you don't. Okay, well,
disrespecting
Malik Benson is a
FSU
receiver
legend.
for Oregon. That is disrespectful. Going into picking this one, it is like I said at the top. If Oregon runs the ball well, it's over. If they don't run the ball well, it's anybody's game, and that's even with Dan Lanning being 24-2 at home and Lincoln Riley being 10-9 on the road. I think if Oregon doesn't run the ball well, it then comes down to 4th down territory. And USC is 12 for 18 this year. That's 66%. And Oregon is allowing 71%. I think Lincoln Riley and this USC team is finally due to make their run, and I think I'm going to predict another upset in Austin Stadium. I'm going to take USC to win late in this game. I think they'll have a really good game plan ready for 4th down, and it really kind of trumps one of the truths I kind of hold, which is pick a game based on which coach you trust more in that spot. And I think Dan Lanning is maybe second only to Kirby Smart in games where you just trust them the most in that kind of big game. But Dan Lanning's been shocked before. He lost to Chris Cignetti this year, blown out by Ohio State in the playoff last year. I think USC gets it done, and they cover 10.5 points, and I think they win against the Oregon Ducks, and then I have to just play UCLA to make the playoff finally for Lincoln Riley at USC.
Sanders?
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree. I feel like we listed a lot more ways for Oregon to definitely win this game. Picking the upset, I do see it. I do see the potential there. But to pick it, I feel like you have to believe it's more likely than a loss, and I think that excuse me, I typed in the wrong name. Apologies.
You good?
I think that the win for Oregon I expect a win. I'll also pick the cover. because I think it's funny. You go, Dan Lanning's the guy I trust second most in these games. I think he's going to lose it. Like that just the logic there does not follow. It's a total, like I said, it's a fair pick that I do see as a possibility. But I'm going to make that statement and then say because I trust him and because I trust the roster in that team, I'm going to pick him to win, and I'm also going to pick him to cover.
All right. I'm gonna pick Oregon to cover. USC does have an avenue to win this game, but they basically have to play a 10 to win
Yeah.
this game, a 9 or a 10 in terms of quality, and Oregon just doesn't have to do that to win the game. So I'm
Nope.
gonna pick Oregon to win. The cover is a little steep, but I could see like a 13-point win for Oregon. So
Yeah.
I'm a Lincoln Riley hater as well.
Okay.
Bozo had to run from the SEC to try to make the playoffs and still hasn't got it done. So L.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Like I think he knew that the Oklahoma was going to go to the
I
SEC
see what you're saying now. Yes.
and was like, I'm not going to make the playoffs in the SEC, so I'm going to the USC because he had made it at Oklahoma. He had made it in the Big 12.
Correct.
He didn't want the SEC grind,
Well, OU
and Brent Venables about to prove him wrong, which is even better. So
Well, they'll both be in the playoff. So
I need them to
Imagine
face.
about that would be an electric.
I need USC
matchup.
to have to go to Oklahoma.
Could we
That's-
get like a? Would bet,
it's 8-9 is the bet. It's the
I was
the
gonna.
weight
I
avenue
think
for it.
7-10 would be easier.
I don't think OU's getting up to 7.
I don't think USC is getting up to 9.
They could get up to 9.
You think so?
This would be a huge win.
Oregon's sitting there at 7. That's a team that's out immediately, and then you would just need a little bit more help in being ranked higher than Notre Dame. That's really all
but
you
if Oregon
need.
is sitting there at 7, if Oklahoma,
Maybe you're looking at 7-10.
yeah, I think
Okay.
because if Oregon is at 7, and Oklahoma's at 8. If Oregon loses, Oklahoma wins out. I don't
Oklahoma
think.
loses this weekend to Missouri, though. So.
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame is going to get a win that makes them leap Oklahoma, and I don't think Alabama, their win against Eastern Illinois and Auburn, is not going to leap them over Oklahoma. So I think
Auburn's a tough place to play.
it is a tough place to play. I 100% agree with that one.
I want to
But
go to that game so bad.
7-10, USC wins this game. They would jump Vandy. They would jump Miami. They would jump Utah. Are they? Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We've got one more college game to preview, and then we can get into our NFL games.
Let's do it.
Another ACC matchup.
When is Wemby coming back?
A couple weeks. Why?
What week?
We don't know yet. Is the problem?
Okay.
He'll be
Is he back in a month?
He'll almost definitely be back after a full month. Yeah.
Heard.
You think he might go into a game?
Yeah, he plays the Hawks on December 19th
That's electric.
in Atlanta.
Hopefully you have better luck seeing Wemby when dealing with injuries than we do.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all good. We got to see a game winner from De'Aaron Fox and our parlay hit. So.
I forgot we got to see De'Aaron Fox. That did make the night better.
Shout out Swipa. Yeah. All right. We're back to the ACC, and this is another huge one in the sense of how is this going to make the ACC title or the championship game race shake out. Georgia Tech is in the driver's seat right now. They win this game, they're in. But Pitt is no slouch. Pitt's a solid team. Sure, they lost last week, but, their coach said that game didn't matter. This is the time for Pitt to prove it matters. This is what they've been saving up for, They didn't run any of their good plays against Notre Dame. We're here now to go get an upset at Georgia Tech. And can they get it done? Georgia Tech's defense has trailed the past couple weeks, giving up 35-plus points in back-to-back games, eking out some close wins. But the one constant of this Georgia Tech season has been Haynes King and what he's done to will this team to wins. And so can he do it again at home? Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Well, it's finally a return to home for GT. They haven't played at home, and on Saturday will be a month. They haven't played at home. It's been a
Crazy.
long time since they have a game at Bobby Dodd. It's a night game as well, so Bobby Dodd is going to be rocking. And when it's rocking, it's a really tough place to play, and I think it'll be a really tough place to play for Pitt. Pitt was just shut down last week by Notre Dame. They only had 219 total yards. They came into the game with the 30th best offense in the country at 423 per game. They're now at 50th at 400 per game. Now Pitt is going to have the very similar story as last week, which was their rush defense last week was number 2 or if not the best rush defense in the country, and they faced Notre Dame. They did a fine job. Notre Dame rushed for about 170 to 180 yards. But now you're playing Georgia Tech, and that is what Georgia Tech does. They are 224 rushing yards per game. That's 9th in the country. It's 9th versus 9th. 9th best rush defense versus 9th best rush offense. That is the key to the game. Can you shut down Haynes King and Jamal Haynes in that rush offense, which, as I've seen firsthand, when it is rolling, it is impossible to stop. Even when the whole stadium knows it's 3rd and 4, it's Haynes King quarterback power, doesn't matter. He's going to pick it up. And so Georgia Tech, if they are excellent at doing that or able to run the football, they will control the clock. They'll control the game. They'll control the crowd. It's over for Pitt, even if they do care this week, per Narduzzi. One thing I thought was interesting, and look, in no way should it ever be, but is this a look-ahead spot for both of these teams? Pitt hosts Miami next week, and Georgia Tech host Georgia next week in Mercedes-Benz.
No, definitely not. Maybe you can make the argument for Pitt, but absolutely not for Georgia Tech. This is the only game on their schedule that matters.
You would think.
I don't know if
Do the players think that
Brent
way?
Key subscribes to Pat Narduzzi logic.
I'm just like,
Do the
I
coaches
mean, that's a
think that
rivalry
way?
game.
it is
think,
a rivalry
Think about
game.
if
I'm not
Ole
saying
Miss
that they
was
don't
there.
care about that game.
Are the
I'm-
fans
I
thinking
agree
that
they're
way?
not going to be looking ahead.
There is just
but
zero chance that with both of these teams, the only way they make the playoffs is by winning the ACC championship. There is no way that both these teams are overlooking a game. And for one of these teams, the only game between them and that championship, there's just zero chance that this is a look-ahead game.
Look, in no way should it ever be, but will it be?
No.
That's what I'm really curious about, because you talk about big brands in Miami and Georgia next week for both these teams.
Yeah.
Do they care about this game? Maybe there's an inkling of it. There will be no way to prove it, but I just thought it was interesting and a funny concept. I'm going to attempt to pronounce his name, and I've never heard it on a broadcast, so this will just be me trying to pronunciate a word in front of me. Heinzschul.
That's what I would go with.
Heinzschul has started 6 games this year. He's been sacked 20 times in the 6 games. 6 games, 20 sacks. Now, on the other hand, Georgia Tech has only 18 sacks so far this season total. That's worse than Mississippi State. State has 20 sacks this season. So that is not a good pass rush whatsoever.
Man, State's numbers gone up in recent weeks.
Think- The total, yeah.
Yeah.
The total, yes.
No, but the per game has to have gone up a little bit too.
I think we're at a 1.9.
That's more than double what we had last
Or
season.
technically that'd be 2.
Last
no, it'd
season
be 1.9.
we're
We
at
played 11
0.7
games.
last season.
I think we were at 0.7 last year.
Yeah, we're getting there. We'll
Yeah.
be there next year.
100% better is what Isaac Smith said.
I think that's a huge part to this game, because if they are able to get after Heinzschul, who has been really terrific,
we can just
through
call him
the air.
Mason if we want to.
Mason. Nah, I like last names.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, what or like friends with the guy, just gonna call him by his first name.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, cool.
If Georgia Tech flips that script, if they get 3 or 4 sacks, this is really a game that Pitt has no shot in. And I honestly think, straight up, they have no shot in this game. I think Georgia Tech is a better roster, a better team. I think they have more to play for at home. They've been in these kinds of spots before. They've answered. They play so damn well at home, which is why I hate that the Georgia game is in Mercedes-Benz, but money is everything to people these days. I think this is a game that just leans so much towards Georgia Tech, and I'm concerned for the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Sure. I think it's a little disrespectful to say they have no shot in this game. They've proven to be a quality team. Mr. Heinzschul can sling it around a little bit.
He can.
We'll put the ball in harm's way, which I think is another thing Georgia Tech needs to take advantage of. Try and pick them off once or twice. Or if they do get one of those sacks, strip the ball out,
Yep.
force a turnover. Because the Georgia Tech defense just really hasn't been fantastic. So I can see a world where Pitt goes in and then throws it around a little bit, puts up points, and Georgia Tech ends up in another bit of a shootout. Now, Haynes King's your quarterback, so I don't really have worries about you scoring when you need to score, but I think this game could end up being pretty close.
Did you pick?
No, we
None of
can
us have
pick. I
picked.
wanted to know if you wanted to add anything.
Oh no, I'm good.
Cool. JP, I know. I mean, he just basically said who he's picking. If the spread was
Yeah.
10.5, he's probably picking Georgia Tech.
I mean, this is of the spreads between the BYU game and this game, which this is another one that Joel Klatt threw a hissy fit at, and I've seen other people overreact to. This one makes more sense to overreact to it. I haven't seen what Pate would have, but I imagine it'd be more than 2.5.
I mean, this
points.
is saying that on a neutral field, Pitt would be the favorite. That does feel a little.
Yeah,
But why are we throwing a hissy fit?
I'm not throwing
because
a hissy
Georgia
fit.
Tech has a number next to him and Pitt doesn't, and for some reason that's how
We
he's
give
reacting.
ESPN a lot of crap for bad coverage.
Yeah.
The Fox college football coverage
Really bad.
is terrible.
Gus Johnson.
Gus Johnson is fire, but
Elite.
he's like a broadcaster. I don't know if that counts as like
I'd watch him if he had a podcast.
Coverage.
That'd be electric.
sure, but like Joel Klatt, I don't like. I don't know if y'all remember R.J. Young from a couple years back.
Mm-mm.
I know the name.
Terrible. Even just like the Barstool kind of partnership.
Yes.
Terrible. Like they just. What are we doing, Fox? Do y'all even care? I'd rather probably go watch
I
an
don't know.
NBC broadcast, a college football NBC broadcast. If Gus
That's saying-
Johnson
that's
wasn't on the
saying
call,
something.
that is
That is
saying
saying
something.
something.
But it's just terrible. I really dislike Joel Klatt.
I don't dislike him.
I
I don't dislike him calling games.
Sure. I don't like him as like a media personality
Yes.
though.
I don't like that. Either.
But just because he's wrong, because there are some media personalities where you're like, oh, I just don't like their personality. I've personally discovered Josh Pate and Joel Klatt at the same time. I don't still listen to Klatt. I still listen to Pate. But I don't really have a problem with Klatt. I mean, I can see
It's largely I just think he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he also at times I don't like how his
Oh.
personality comes across.
That's fair.
That's not the largest issue though.
He's great when he's talking with someone who doesn't know college football. Like he will go on First Things First with Nick Wright, Chris Broussard.
He's a
and
good
them,
entry level
and
personality.
They don't watch college football at all. Like Nick Wright openly says he doesn't watch college football on Saturday, which is crazy. How do you not?
What are you doing
How do
on
you
a
live
Saturday
life
if you're
like
not
And
watching?
he's getting ready for
he's
the
a
Chiefs game.
professional sports gambler too, so I feel like you would bet on college football at least. He's great on that, and then he'll go on Cowherd as well. And then I've seen him on other shows. He's great at that. I don't think he's good when he's compared peers to peer, but I do think he's really good at color commentating.
Let's
in a-
pick this
in a
game. Let's pick this game.
Georgia Tech,
I am gonna go
buzz, bust their ass.
I will pick.
I
Pitt.
want to see I need to see what uniform they're wearing.
I'm gonna pick Pitt. I think with that run defense, I'm not gonna say they're gonna be able to stop Georgia Tech, but I think they're gonna slow them down enough that the offense can hang. And I think that Georgia Tech has played in some questionable games as of late. They just barely beat Boston College. They barely beat Wake Forest when they played. I just don't know that Georgia Tech is like the dominant team, or a dominant team. So
They're-
I'll go with Pick for a little upset here on the road.
Wearing their classic white with gold accent uniform.
Jack?
I'm going to take Georgia Tech. I do think it's going to be a very close game, but if there's one thing Georgia Tech's proven they can do this season is win close games. I think their kicker now has 3 essentially game-winning field goals
Yeah.
this season, and a game-winning field goal in a tie game is all it takes to cover the 2.5.
Correct.
And I love me some Haynes King. You told me Haynes King is going to let Georgia Tech lose this game when an ACC championship berth is on the line? I don't think so. So give me Georgia Tech.
I wish I could be at this game,
Sure.
but I have other things I have to do that day.
Yep, tough.
Trelito. I apologize if I just biased you or whatever by using an accent there. The best group of 5 teams are either North Texas or JMU. Tulane needs help to even get in the American Championship. We agree.
Yeah.
We're big on JMU, and if we had to pick someone else, we'd pick North Texas to be
100%.
our group of 5 bid. But right now, we'd pick JMU. We think those teams have shown more. Tulane has lost to the School of North already this year, and they got blown out by UTSA.
I mean, legitimately, Tulane's own head coach said, if we are a top 25 team, there's a lot of bad football being played in the country.
Yes.
That's crazy for your own coach to say that.
And I don't remember. I'm pretty actually, no, I would know. Auburn's athletic director, John Cohen, is not on the CFP board. But if he was, Tulane would not be ranked right now so that they could get John Sumrall and he doesn't have to go play in the playoff. They would certainly prefer that at this point. Picking Georgia Tech as well. I agree. Does it change your mind at all that Georgia Tech is wearing gray pants? That would be my question to you, sir.
It's a big question.
In the chat. They
You
are
know what
wearing
I
gray
just
pants.
realized?
Heather gray pants.
After all these college football previews, is I'm going to be in the car for 6 hours on Saturday.
Watching college football.
Yeah, probably.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Huntsville.
Yeah, I'm stupid. And in my eyes, it was
I
all
can
of this was happening Friday, and so you're gonna be in the car
I
like
also
Friday.
thought it was off. Well,
But
I
it's all
didn't think it was off
Saturday.
Friday. It's all Saturday.
It is all Saturday.
So
I've
that's why I was
also
wrong.
thought I've gotten my days mixed up as well. But yeah, I will be driving to Huntsville for. I mean, one of my best friends is popping the question,
Mhm.
so I feel pretty good about
Oh, wow. We have a
or
swing
6 hours.
in the
6 hours in
chat.
the car.
Trail to 100. That doesn't say Trelito.
Not at all.
Why didn't y'all correct me on that, guys? Trail to 100.
I just
It was too funny to correct.
that's
Okay.
yeah. What if you man?
Well,
That's
look,
we cooked.
I couldn't read it. Sorry.
I mean, all he did is switch to the I and the L. That's not that big a deal.
Yes, and they look really similar. You can only see there's only space between the I and the L up there that tells the difference.
It is hard to read. I'll give you a backup on that one.
Trail to 100 takes Pitt because Georgia Tech is wearing gray pants. You heard it here first. We can get in the NFL.
It
now.
matters.
Bet.
NFL games. I don't remember what their kickoff times
Pittsburgh
are.
at Chicago first.
Pittsburgh at Chicago is the only noon game.
No, Indy at KC is also at noon.
Okay, cool.
This matchup has soured a little bit because, as the Bears fans probably refer to him as, Papa Rogers is likely not playing in this game because he hurt his wrist, which, as it soured for me as an outside spectator, Bears fans are probably ecstatic he's not playing, though they won't say it because Aaron Rodgers legitimately has owned the Bears his whole career, and now you get to face Mason Rudolph instead, most likely. Yeah, that's very much the deal I would take if I was a Bears fan. With that being said, the Bears are favored by 2.5 at home. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is trying to play. He really is trying to play. But that being said, the spread is still 2.5, assuming Mason Rudolph starts in this
Yeah.
game. And that kind of tells you how much Vegas feels about Pittsburgh and the way their defense has been playing in recent weeks and the lack of trust they have in Chicago and the Bears. I'll go
As
tell
they
you
should.
straight up right now, I think, and the pyramid thinks that spread is too low. The pyramid has the spread at -4.5. In terms of Chicago, it's a critical game for Chicago because blink and you'll miss it, but Chicago leads the NFC North right now. I don't think we would have felt that a couple weeks ago.
You would have, right? You picked them to win it.
I did not pick them to win it, but I did pick them to make the playoffs.
That's
I
what it
picked Green Bay to win it. And it is funny how the tables have turned, but once again, the Commanders-Bears game has changed everything. Since that game, Chicago is 4-1. They lost their first two divisional games to start the year against the Vikings and against the Lions, but since then they are 7-1. They've been really, really good, especially clutch down the stretch in games. Caleb has 5 game-winning drives already this year. That's the most by any Bears quarterback since 1970. I think he might need another one in this game because this Pittsburgh defense, I think, will be ready to play. I think Mike Tomlin plays well against younger quarterbacks. I'm really curious to see how Ben Johnson is prepared for this game. But we're getting into the colder months of the year. This temperature, it's only 53 degrees, and so it won't affect them as much. But we're getting to the point where do we start wondering how this offense will do when it gets cold? Can they throw the ball
Sure.
as well as they want to? With that happening, though, they've been excellent on the ground. Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift have had amazing weeks the past 4 or 5 weeks. And that, I think, is really the kind of the key into this game is how well does Chicago run the ball and limit the amount of chances Mason Rudolph or Aaron Rodgers get offensively. Because You limit the amount of chances they get. You would guess Mason Rudolph scores on 20% of his drives. Would be your guess probably against this Bears defense. Now, last week he scored on a lot of his drives, but he was playing the Bengals defense, and so there's
It's a little easier.
much easier to do that. New York Jets scored a ton of points on them with Justin Fields as their quarterback. So you need to limit drives in this game. I think if you're Chicago, because I think your offense will put out more points on a limited amount of drives compared to Pittsburgh. And I think that, for me, is kind of the key to this one. But this feels like such a must-win for Chicago to keep that steam going forward. And then you look at the next 2 weeks. They're at Philly, and they're at the Green Bay Packers after the bye week. It's just actually, I lied. They get a mini bye. They play on Thursday. But that's 2 critical road games against teams that you'll more than likely be facing the postseason. And that they still have to play the Packers and Lions again. Must win for Chicago, if you ask me. All the pressure's on them. How do you guys feel?
I think it sucks for the Steelers. We talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's show about how not unfortunate. I'm sure they love being in the lead in the division right now, but how, as a Steelers fan, you might want to see Will Howard in this situation when your starter goes down. Aaron Rodgers has already made it pretty clear that this is the last year of his career, talking about how he wants to be able to help out the younger guys. And so as a Steelers fan, I wonder if you're thinking, well, what do we have in Will Howard? Would love to see him play, because he's not the kind of guy who you want to go into the offseason, Rodgers retire, and then not draft a quarterback and he just be your Patrick Mahomes or your Jordan Love. That's not who Will Howard is. He was a 6th-round draft pick or something. And so
5th round, if
fifth
I'm not
round?
mistaken.
Okay. It's unfortunate for the Steelers that they are in this position. I'm sure they're very happy to be there, but that your quarterback does go down kind of at this important time of the season. I think we're beyond halfway, so it's kind of downhill from here. We've peaked, and we've got to now, all the teams that are going to make the playoffs, to make it, you got to finish strong. You've got to win these tough games against other playoff teams like the Bears. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. If Rudolph plays poorly, is there a chance that we see Howard anyway? I don't know how poorly Rudolph would have to play as a backup, but I think he's had some stinkers in his time at Pittsburgh. So how badly would that have to go for us to see Will Howard? Even if it's you're losing 28-10 or 21-3, 21-7, do you maybe see him in the fourth quarter or second half, just because you feel like Mason Rudolph's not going to lead the comeback? So let's just see how Howard looks against the NFL defense.
I don't know. We'll see. Last week he was 12 for 16. He scored on all 3 of his drives.
Yeah.
Against Cincy. He was really efficient last week. That probably gives him a longer leash this week as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game they really feel like they need to win, even with Rodgers being out.
On the road, too, do you want to throw Will Howard out there for his first snaps against Chicago?
Sure. I agree. It feels more must-win for the Bears. The easier stretch of your schedule is behind you. You really only play one bad team left, and by bad I mean a team that is not fighting for a playoff spot, and that's the Browns. So you want to win this one because you're 7-3. That's fantastic. But I believe your point differential is negative. You're -6 in point differential on the season. So this could turn south real fast on the backstretch of the season. And so the more wins you can stack now, take advantage of someone whose QB is hurt. It's just not a game you want to drop. Because then I think you play the Packers next week, so you lose that one. All of a sudden you're 7-5. That negative point differential. You're gonna find me on this podcast talking about them like I do the Broncos. So.
Yep.
Ready to pick this game?
Let's do it. We got Bears -2.5. I am in first place in the NFL,
Not for long.
so I will go first. And
Did I go 0-3 last week?
No,
1 for 2.
1 and 2.
Dude,
1 and 2.
I'm consistent 1 for 2 shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna lie. Except for the leagues I go 0-3.
It's about half and half.
Have I gone above 500 a single week?
1 week.
1 week.
Dude,
Week
week
6.
6 was my week, man.
You have gone above 500 one time. I will pick Chicago. I will trust that. I mean, I'll trust the starting quarterback at home a lot more often than I'll trust a backup quarterback on the road.
I would like to make my pick contingent on who starts at quarterback.
Fair.
If Rodgers starts, give me Rodgers. if he doesn't start, give me Chicago to cover 2.5.
Well, the spread will change if he starts.
Will our spread change? If he's right now, we're assuming Mason Rudolph is starting. Okay, so if we want to repick the spread, I would be picking Pittsburgh regardless of whatever the spread is.
I'm also I'm in the same boat as him because I literally just called him Papa Rogers earlier.
Yeah. But so what do you think the spread would move to? Do you
I think they could go let Aaron Rodgers throw with his left hand
A
and he
pick 'em.
somehow wins this game.
A pick 'em.
be a pick 'em? So like Steelers minus
I
a half.
don't think Rodgers is worth 2.5. Maybe it's 1.5. It moves at a point.
I think I would take the Steelers. That's not a whole lot. That's crazy. So you are gonna pick the Bears.
We're all picking the Bears right now.
Look, power ranking wise, I have the Steelers ranked based off Rodgers playing,
Right.
and I still am favoring the Bears, but I'm picking Rodgers in this matchup.
That's so you're picking against the pyramid.
Correct.
The pyramid has got you so many good best bets though, JP.
I'm pretty sure this isn't. Yeah, this isn't a best bet for me this week.
That's
so.
good because it'd be bad if it was and you picked against it.
I thought for a second Washington was on your best bets.
No,
And I
they're
was
in the
gonna-
graveyard. So
Yeah,
I
we don't
have
bet
not
graveyard
figured
teams.
out.
True.
I spent 8 or so hours this past week trying to figure out how to calculate graveyard teams.
Well,
and it
and
hasn't worked.
Maybe it's
And
something to do with how long they've been dead.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
Right now I've just put a value on them.
In
It
10
hasn't
days, my Commanders play the Broncos, and that will be our one remaining win of the season.
You
Wow.
hope. Okay, so we're all picking Chicago,
pray.
and then
worked. Assuming Mason Rudolph starts.
if Aaron Rodgers
We'll circle back around
does
and repick.
his crazy medicine,
It's a broken left wrist. So if he feels like he can protect the football, then he'll play. And it sounds like he wants to play really bad. So I won't be surprised if he plays this weekend.
Harris
Makes
in the
sense.
chat, can
Well,
you
he's talked about taking perks before, so he can probably get his hands on one of those. The NFL let it slide.
Harris? Can you explain?
He's talking about the play you were talking about earlier, the running play where there's the contract.
Yes. Okay.
He just came in.
He just started the so
yeah.
he's rewatching the live stream.
Probably.
He didn't join live.
correct.
That explains why about 45 minutes ago he texted me and said, "You don't have to go home to my concert tonight if you don't want to," because he just watched the part about me talking about missing golf this morning and coming to the concert, and so I think he thinks that I'm only doing it out of guilt. I was already planning on going before I missed golf. Harris, when you get to this part of the live stream, cool
Good stuff. Okay.
I was so confused. Yeah,
It
it's
took me a second as
75
well.
years. It's called Mouse Trap. The movie is called See How They Run. We've got 2 NFL games left to preview.
No,
this-
not that one.
Yeah, I know. It's about to change.
The Indianapolis Colts travel to Arrowhead, which was once a daunted place to play. This season, maybe not so much. But the sports books still think it's hard to play at this season, and Kansas City's favored by 3.5. I'm not going to say it's not a hard place to play, but it used to be, these past couple years, it's been nigh impossible to win at Arrowhead, and that has not been the case necessarily this season.
Give or take. Only Phillies won there this year, but sure. That's fair. And really only the great teams win there for the most part. Teams get really close.
So here we'll say this then. Colts, if you want to prove you're a great team, join the group of great teams that can win at Arrowhead.
I think that's the big storyline, really. Colts aren't going to get the right or the opportunity to eliminate the Kansas City Chiefs from playoff contention, but the rest of the AFC is rooting for Indianapolis to win this game, because if Indy wins this game, then the rest of the AFC and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving will have the rightful opportunity to eliminate them from postseason contention. I think if they get to the 7th loss, 9-7, I don't think is enough. I think Jacksonville is going to find enough wins, and the Chargers will as well, to make the postseason. And so,
Yeah, do we think the Chargers intentionally lost at Jacksonville Sunday to make sure that Jacksonville make the playoffs over the Chiefs?
I forgot to have my mic off. No, because the Chargers were still in the running for the AFC West. They were like a game or two games behind the Broncos. I
Well,
guess.
they know they can chase down the Broncos and beat them again.
you're saying they tried their best, but they're just like nothing in comparison to the Jaguars?
I'm saying that their offensive line is made up of a bunch of guys who could be serving French fries right now at McDonald's.
Regardless, Indy has the opportunity to then give someone else the opportunity to knock this team into the postseason. And there's kind of no excuses for Indy in this game. I honestly, it would be nothing but a true disappointment if they were to lose this game to the Kansas City Chiefs. Colts are off of a bye. Kansas City just played 2 straight weeks on the road with a bye in between the two. They finally get to come back home since the Monday Night Football game against the Commanders, but they're 5-5. Everything they have to do, they have to go 6-1, or they have to go 7-0 to finish out the season. And now they have to play what is one of the best offenses in the league, and Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones, who is top 5 in passing yards, and Jonathan Taylor leads the league in rushing yards. All the pressure is on Kansas City to win this game, and so Indy, I think, likewise has a ton of pressure to go out there and capitalize and win this game as well. I'm really, really curious to see how the Indy offense works against that Kansas City defense, works with the pressure on them. I've seen a lot of takes this week of Indy isn't ready because Indy hasn't played good teams, and I'd argue that's just not the case. Now, they have been defeated twice this year against the Rams and the Steelers, both of those games on the road. But they've played Denver and they've played the Chargers, and they won both of those games. Denver, they win off of Denver cheating, and then the Chargers, they dominated the Chargers, 138-24, and it really wasn't close. That score doesn't tell the story in that game really whatsoever.
Yeah.
People will say they struggled last week in Germany against the Falcons. You could agree to that however much you want, but I think the Falcons at that point still had something to play for, and it's a Germany game. It's an international game. You never know what you're going to see.
The Falcons
Really ever.
are. It's almost like you can't fault someone for losing to the Falcons, and you can't give anyone credit for beating the Falcons, because clearly there's some like divine intervention with all of those games. So
Absolutely.
like someone has like ordained that every Falcons game is going to end a certain way. It doesn't matter how good you are or what you're doing. It's just the script's been written. They're the
Someone
most
flipped a coin, and we just have to wait and see how it landed.
Yeah, I mean they're the most like the NFL scripted team ever.
For Indy, like they in-house, I'm sure really still think they can be the number 1 overall seed, and if they want to do that, they're going to have to win this game, obviously. But I'd argue between them, Denver, and New England, they have the toughest path remaining. They have, of course, played the Chiefs this weekend, but they still play the Jaguars twice, a playoff team. They still play the Texans twice, a team fighting for the postseason. They go to Seattle still. They host the 49ers. Those are their remaining games. All the remaining games are against teams either fighting for a playoff spot or currently in the postseason. And so there are no cupcakes. There are no Titans left on their schedule. There are no Raiders or Dolphins left on their schedule. Everything that they have to do, they will have to do against good competition. So if the people that had the take of, oh, I don't think Indy's really played that many good teams and beaten really that many good teams, it'll prove itself out in these next 6 weeks, and we'll get to the postseason, we'll know what Indy is, and there will be no worries about, okay, well, Indy might lay an egg because they are 15-2. I think that could potentially happen with New England or Denver because of who they play down the stretch. New England a little less so, but especially Denver, they could very easily just lay an egg. Their defense doesn't show up for one game, it's over. I don't think that will be the case for Indy because they'll be very battle-tested at that point in the season. Getting into picking this game, Sanders, you will get to pick this one first. What are your thoughts? And then go ahead and give your pick.
I had thoughts that I don't remember what they were, so I'll just go ahead and get into picking it. Yes, the Chiefs in one-possession games, undefeated at this point in the season. Why would I pick them to cover a one-possession spread? I'm going to go Colts to win by one possession, as teams tend to do against the Chiefs. Those are my thoughts. The Chiefs are bad this year.
In one-possession games.
In one-possession games.
Patrick Mahomes is also the surprise last season in Kansas City. Some Chiefs
Correct.
fans they're getting ready to usher in the DJ Lagway era.
Yep.
Which you got to wait another year for that.
So
I'm
I
sorry.
guess they'll go Gardner Minshew for a season.
probably.
And
And Andy Reid as well. According to Chiefs fans, he needs to be on the way out.
I heard
yeah.
Okay, I heard the Jets reached out to Kansas City for Mahomes this past week as well.
I saw that
I think
report.
that was a burner account
It was,
as well.
but it was
but
funny.
that was a funny one.
During after the trade deadline, can't hurt to ask.
Well, they want to know what the odds were they could pursue him in the offseason.
Yes.
yeah,
And of course, Andy Reid needs to be out 9 months removed from him being 4 quarters away from a three-peat, which no NFL team has ever done.
could the Jets get some sort of like early off-season appeal because they're already bad and dead? Then like maybe teams.
Oh,
that
they're
are-
already in their offseason.
They're already
is what
in the
you're saying?
off-season. Like
I don't know.
maybe teams who are
Interesting
eliminated from
question.
playoffs should just be able to. They're already in the off-season. Like start trading. We don't care.
No, because they still have games to play.
Yeah.
Sanders has picked Indianapolis, and then he's put it in the wrong category.
Schubert.
But the
No,
pyramid.
I think Indy will cover in the Buccaneers-Rams game.
Okay, fair. The pyramid has Kansas City -4.5, so the spread makes sense. And a lot of people would say the spread makes no sense, and that's why Indy is a pick for a lot of people this week. I'm going to go against my own pyramid once again. I think Indianapolis wins this game. I trust Shane Steichen off the bye. I think they're going to have a really, really good offensive game plan. I think Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league right now, and he's really tough to stop, and I think he's just inevitable. I think it's like Saquon last year.
I think he's one of the best running backs behind the best offensive line.
Well, that's a similar
Yeah,
story for the Eagles team last year.
Yeah.
Great offensive
I'm not.
line
I don't
play.
mean. I just got into it with Wynn the other day. He was like, Jonathan Taylor is the best. I was like, I mean, I think if you put Bijan Robinson behind that offensive line, he would be putting up similar numbers.
What if you
Jonathan
put-
Taylor is still one of the best. There are no running backs better than him.
What if you put Bill Krosky-Merritt?
I think he could cook.
Okay.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, as someone that watches every Commanders game, Bill's just given nothing to work with.
Is it sometimes against your will? Like, do you feel like you don't want to, but you make yourself do it?
No, not really.
Not to that point yet.
Because it's just kind of fun to watch a team that's pretty bad and like you're just waiting to get a good draft pick. Like I gotta watch us miss field goals and get stopped on 4th down because Zach Ertz slips and falls in bed at like 8:30 a.m. Like that's a glorious time. Like
That is
how do you
electric.
beat that? And then we
That's
go to
electric.
overtime and against another 3-7 team. Like there's some joy there. Matt Gay's missing kicks. He's now off the team. Sadly, I don't know why we
Yeah, it
waited
doesn't
till the
make any
season was
sense.
over to get rid of him.
Yeah, if we're
So,
tanking, we might as well keep him on the
I
team.
agree. But no, it's fully. I'm still willfully watching, and just trying to find the joy in the sparks.
I am too, just because Tyler Shuck is playing
Sure.
for my Saints. That is, my point was, I think Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line is inevitable, like Saquon and that offensive line was last year, and so I think Jonathan Taylor has the big pop runs like he's had so far this season, like Saquon had last year, and this team will just be really, really hard to beat. The only way you're going to beat them is if you make Daniel Jones do what he's done in his past, which is fumble the football and throw interceptions, which he's been really bad at the last 2 weeks, and that can't be ignored. But I think they'll be ready. I think they'll have a really good offensive game plan off of a bye week. Shane Steichen will help Daniel Jones protect the football with the play calling. And I just think there are so many weapons that Indy has that with the bye week and an extra week of preparation, I don't think Daniel Jones turns the ball over, and I think Indy wins this kind of going away. I don't think they'll get it to double digits. No one blows out the Chiefs, but give me Indy convincingly in Kansas City, and I can't wait to see it. We are a week away, actually. We are a week away from Kansas City being 5-7.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Kansas City to cover. I just maybe it's like a toxic relationship or whatever. I just can't let go just yet. I can't give up hope just yet that Kansas City can turn this around. That they still have one last rabbit in their hat. So give me the Chiefs to kind of, I don't want to say wait a minute, we have a little bit of life, but even with winning this one, it's a long road ahead.
Crazy. You're picking your Week 9 Super Bowl champions to lose. That's just so fickle.
No, I mean I'm dialed, Coach.
I do have one more question. I meant to bring it up earlier, but my mind went blank and I forgot all of my points and talking points. Do we think Danny Dimes is back gone? Because he made that 1 week appearance. He had the 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Do we think he's gone again after his 1 touchdown, 1 reception last
No,
week?
I still think you have the potential for the games to be like that game, especially against good defenses and good defensive coordinators like Spagnuolo. And I feel the same about Sam Darnold now that we just saw the 4 interception game. It can
Yep.
happen again.
Yep.
But I think the bye week and the extra week of preparation, the extra week of game planning, and with Kansas City really being able to pay no attention to this game, they could not look ahead to this game at all because they had to play a division rival in Denver in a huge divisional game on the road. And so now you weren't able to start prepping for that game until Monday. And so I think they'll be behind. I think Shane Steichen, who is a great offensive mind, will be ahead. And I just don't think he'll put Daniel Jones in spots where he will turn the ball over.
Sure.
I think the only way that changes is if Chris Jones, shout out Mississippi State legend, game wrecks the game. And I think that's the only way, and he hasn't done that quite this year. So I don't think we'll see it this week, but we could 100% see it. And I would, in fact, be surprised if we didn't see it the rest of the way because he still has to play the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken, but he has to play the Texans twice, which is he plays the 49ers, but he plays the Texans twice, one of the best defenses in the league. He plays Seattle at Seattle, one of the best defense in the league, if not the second best. He plays the 49ers, and even though they don't have any of the weapons defensively, Robert Saw and that defense has been really good this year. So I think we will see multiple Danny Dimes games going forward. But I think with the extra week of preparation, it should lean all the way towards Indianapolis.
And
fair.
he still has to play the Jaguars, who at one point I think led the NFL in turnovers. I don't know if they're still up there.
I can double check that.
That's what I'm on.
I mean, they're definitely
you
still
got-
up there. I don't know if
Yeah.
they lead anymore.
That was kind of what their defense hung their hat on for the first half of the first, probably 5 or 6 weeks of the season, was just forcing a lot of turnovers. I don't know where they sit now, but that's still a scary game to go into. You still have to play them twice. With a team like that hunts for the ball,
tied second.
tied for second. So that could be a very easy situation where we see Danny Dimes make his reappearance again, in either of those games against Jacksonville. So I'll be interested to see how he plays against Kansas City and going forward. One more game.
One more game.
This game.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to the Los Angeles Rams kind of in search of any momentum. They've lost all of that early season buzz, hype, shine as they just keep dropping games to good teams, and they're still just beat up and injured. Shout out to Sean Tucker, though. Great performance Sunday. Pleased. But, yeah, they have to go play at the Rams. Another tough game. You're running into another buzzsaw here. And the line kind of agrees with that as the Rams are favored by 7 at home. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Yep, 3 in a row. New England last week against Buffalo, and this one. Very quickly, you look at 6-2, and now you're looking at 6-5.
Panthers
Just
right
like
on your
that.
heels, man.
Panthers are right on their heels. In fact, the Carolina Panthers this week could technically. Actually, is Carolina on a bye? Yes. No, Carolina plays on Monday night. That's right. So technically,
We can watch
Carolina
on Monday night.
could have more wins than Tampa Bay after this weekend.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Do they play Monday night?
They're at San Francisco playing the 49ers.
We got to trust in Brock Purdy.
We trust in Brock Purdy.
I agree.
think the 49ers will blow them out of the water. Bryce Young on primetime on the road. Yikes. But Tampa Bay is very quickly in the spot of Carolina's going to compete for this division. Atlanta could compete for this division. New Orleans could compete for this division. You never know with Tyler Shuck. We could get to 9-8. I wouldn't count him out yet. All of that being said, this is another brutal game against what I think is the best team in the league. The pyramid has the best. This has the best team in the league. The pyramid agrees with the spread. Pyramid has it as Rams minus 8.5. So don't be shocked by the spread of -7 whatsoever. Even though one of our hosts was shocked by it earlier. You want to
At
tell
first glance.
You know, tell why you were shocked at it at least.
Yeah, it just feels like this is a Tampa Bay team that started out the season really hot. Baker Mayfield in his 2-minute drives was a big deal. And then they dealt with injuries to wide receiver. Egbuka missed games. Evans is hurt right now. They didn't have Godwin to start the season. And it didn't really seem to slow him down at first. And they definitely have kind of faltered a little bit in the past couple weeks. But just 7 It's not at all that it bothers me that the Rams are favorite. It's just that I feel like in the NFL where spreads are so often super tight, 2.5, 3.5 points. I feel like the bigger spreads are games where you see like the Bills play the Dolphins or when the Bills play the Panthers. One of those dominant teams to get to even close to double digits, because even in those games the spread's only like 11. And so 7 just feels really close to 11 for a matchup of two teams that I think are really good and both going to be in the playoffs.
Fair. Maybe that'll foreshadow into how you pick this game.
Yeah.
X's and O's wise, Tampa Bay is going to have to protect the football. They're going to have to do a good job, of course, scoring the football. This Rams defense was incredible last week against Sam Darnold. Now, I'll go ahead and say straight up, I think Sam Darnold threw all 4 of those picks because his footwork was terrible. He had a jump pass for a pick. The first pick of the game,
Sam Darnold may be the last QB in the league I want to throw a jump pass.
Yeah. Maybe I would compare it to like Blake Shapen throwing a jump pass.
Yeah, it's just not at all what you want to see.
No, not at all.
He jumps in the air, and I don't like. Regardless of outcome, terrible process there.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, that's an aside, but that's just so crazy that Sam Darnold is like, yeah, let me pull this out of my bag.
Hold up. I need to. This is how JP had me feeling when he said Sam Darnold jump pass.
Yeah, like
I just went.
it's bad.
That is fair. For reference, you couldn't see it on screen. It's the dog with the
sunlight,
and the sunset, just with the chill face that you saw, of
Forlorn,
course, on
yeah.
Sanders.
Yeah, it's just like I understand my fate, and there's nothing I can do to avoid it. All right, we can move on.
Yes. Sam Darnold, his first pick of the game was terrible as well. He throws the ball like this. He's shooting. It's like he's shooting a basketball. You turn your freaking hips when you're, playing quarterback. Go look at Dak Prescott. Go do his workout more, I guess. Turn those damn hips. I don't think Baker is going to be in those spots, and so I don't think you see the amount of turnovers. But on the other hand, Tampa Bay defensively have been terrible the last 2 weeks against Buffalo and New England. New England had 435 total yards against them, and Buffalo was incredible as well. Josh Allen had 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, and as a team, they had 414 total yards. So you could very well see the exact same circumstance for Tampa Bay, and I think this is why it may lean towards Tampa Bay being a 7-point dog. It's just because their defense has been really bad the last 2 weeks against 2 of the best teams in the AFC. Rams, a lot of people view as the best team in the NFL. They are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl right now, and I think this is just a bad matchup for them. They've got to it's put up or shut up time. Todd Bowles is defensive head coach. Levante David, Vita Vea, and the safety Whitehead. You have to have a good game. Joshua Whitehead have to have a good game in this game. It's not Whitehead. It's Antoine Winfield. I don't know why I said Whitehead. Maybe they had a Jordan Whitehead.
Maybe they
I
did.
think
Antoine
was
Winfield.
There
Jordan
is
makes
a
lot more
Jordan
sense.
Whitehead.
Yeah, and you also called him Joshua Whitehead, which I don't know if that was
I
intentional.
did that on purpose.
Okay.
Yes.
I
I figured that was intentional.
For the I'm really glad we corrected it, because if someone was watching it and didn't know that we have a good friend named Joshua Whitehead, they would have called us lack of ball knowledge, called us out for that. So, Antoine Winfield.
Antoine Winfield. Sorry.
No,
Yo, dickhead.
That's my favorite comment.
Then we'll get Whitehead to respond to
It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite comments that we've had.
Sorry, continue.
But they have to put up or shut up defensively against this passing front with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and then the 13 personnel that they run. Kyron Williams, I think you got to slow down the run first off. You got to put them in more. You have to put them in harder passing situations where your pass rush can potentially become effective. Because if it's 3rd and 2, it's over for Sean McVay and that offense against you, because you just put Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams on an island. Devontae just runs a slant route, GG's. Puka runs a little zig route or something, GG's. They run the football. They are going to pick up 3 yards a carry with Kyron Williams. It's over. So I think you got to force him to 3rd and longs. You could say, duh. Who doesn't want to force a team in
what
3rd and
defense
longs?
doesn't want to put a team in 3rd and
This is
long?
not a like you want to though. It's like a you have to.
I think it's overly critical. Otherwise, I don't think Tampa Bay is going to score enough points, because this Rams defense has been playing really, really well. And while their DBs had a good week, last week. I wouldn't guarantee that's the whole thing going forward. I still think that defense and that front seven as a whole is going to give Baker and that offensive line that's gone through their troubles this year a lot of trouble. And so I would lean Los Angeles here. But Sanders, you can give your thoughts and go ahead and give your pick as well.
I do feel like the spread is large, and so I'm going to take advantage of that. So I don't know what we'll do in the spreadsheet. We haven't
We've
ever
not had
had
a
a
push.
push
Yeah.
to deal with.
Yeah.
But I will go.
Let me check and see if the spread's moved.
Did you already pick yours? Who to cover?
I haven't picked, no.
Okay.
Spread is
Oh,
not
I
moved.
have to go first.
Still -7.
I'm gonna go Tampa Bay to cover.
Yeah.
They've lost I think 2 games by more than one possession. They lost to the Eagles by 6, and then they lost to the Lions by 15. Lost to the Patriots by 5, and then lose to the Bills by 12. I think it's a great opportunity for them to bounce back, even if it is on the road. I trust Baker Mayfield to at least make this a very competitive game. And in the NFL, if you lose by more than 7, you're kind of getting out of the not to say it's not competitive, but NFL teams are so close, talent-wise, coaching-wise, preparation-wise, that's why you see such tight spreads, you see such tight results.
Why does my team always lose by 20 then?
Y'all are really bad. Y'all are really bad. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay to cover this
Sure.
spread of 7.
JP?
I'm going to not pick against my pyramid this time. I'm going to take the Rams to cover the -7. I think that is the right way. I think the way their offense is playing with the offensive line of Tampa Bay, I think it's just too bad of a matchup. And I'll take the Rams to win by 8 points and cover 7.
Yeah.
How are you getting to 8 points?
20-28.
Exactly what was in my head when I
Yeah.
heard that. You could also get like a 10-2 type victory. That would get
Could.
it done as
You
well.
could get that.
I'm thinking 14-28. Buccaneers go down. They score the touchdown with 4 minutes left.
And then they do the 2-point conversion because
Yes.
it's what you're
The
not,
analytics say you go for 2 the first time.
which is crazy. The
It
analytics
makes
say that.
sense.
It makes sense. It's very unintuitive.
They don't convert. Baker gets sacked by Jared Verse, and they lose 20-28 because Stafford hits Puka deep down the field on 3rd and 4.
Sure. I'm also going to take the Rams. I still am not out on this Buccaneers team, but I am out on them in this current stretch with the injuries. And you talk about them having a bounce back. This just doesn't really seem like the spot for them to bounce back with how well the Rams are playing. So I'm going to take the Rams to cover the -7.
Cool. I know that the 2, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, both 7-point spreads. So
It's crazy how smart the AI in that game is. So the matriarch, naturally you would think it would approach you since you're
Yeah.
shooting at it.
Yeah.
But because you're on top of the tower, it knows to hit you with its rockets, it has to back up and create the angle.
yeah,
That's it. It's just
it's
crazy.
such a great
It's
game.
how
Did you see them trying to zip to the top earlier and they all fell off?
No, I didn't see that, but you do have to make sure you vault.
Well, they hit it at a weird angle and it literally bounced them all. It
Yeah,
was-
they just cling.
and Tim just watched them all like die in front of him. It was so funny.
I killed a matriarch the other night. It was sick.
Did you?
Yeah, there were 4 of us, and so we separate duo queued, and we switched to South America servers, and we met up with 3 Brazilian guys who were friendly. One of my buddy is half Brazilian, and he speaks Portuguese,
That's sick.
and so he was speaking Portuguese
that's
and
fire.
translating with us.
So
And
y'all were able to get in a lobby together?
yeah, there were 7 of us.
That's electric.
We didn't know them, but we like walked up to him and they started speaking Portuguese, and he started speaking it back.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I killed it in a solo queue the other day. We got like
Yeah.
probably 4 or 5 people from the lobby together. We killed it with probably 4 minutes left in the match.
Sick.
I go down, I loot the core, and come out with I think 4 of the reactors. And then it was on the dam, and so we go to that northeast Raider hatch, and I was slow, and I get there, and the hatch closes as I press E. And I just turn around, the nuke explodes, and another dude walks up to me. I just proc shot, I go, "This sucks." And then he popped the hatch open, and we both got out with 0 seconds left. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
I wish I could have clipped it on my PC. I need to get that set up, but it was a wild like 2 minutes of running, watching the clock tick down, watching like 90 meters, 80 meters. It's an electric game. I've had so much fun with it. I think I'm at like 30 or 40 hours at this point. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's sick.
Shall
we get to your
JP's
bets?
bets? Bets. I meant to say bets. I did, and then I
We
read
went
it.
3 and
We are
0.
best bets.
Oh, we're back
Yeah.
to best bets.
He went 3 and 0.
CJP. Every time we call it bets, you have a good week, and then we switch it back, and it does not go well. So,
Well, it's going well this week.
all right.
For context, we are now 21, 30, and 1. Last week we were 18 and 30 and 1. We picked 3 games. We picked Philly minus 2.5, covered with ease. Denver plus 3.5, covered and 1 straight up. And Seattle plus 3.5, covered with ease. It was never a doubt. It was fully in doubt with Sam Darnold throwing 4 picks, but we only lost by 2, and that means covering 3.5 points. And so the pyramid, which was the first time we've picked pyramid games only, was 3-0 last week. Last week, as a total, the pyramid was 5-2. For context, since week 7, that's 5 weeks, the pyramid is 27-16, which is excellent. This year, the pyramid is 56-55, 1 game above 500.
We take those.
But we take those. We're only trying to build a model that's 54% accurate. And given the recent trend, we hope that we get to that number of about 54% by the end of the year. With that being said, I have 3 picks this week in the NFL because I only do an NFL pyramid. Can you imagine we did a college football pyramid?
That thing is like, how many tiers would there have to be?
134,
136.
136. So whatever factorial gets. No, it's not factorial. It's counting numbers.
I got no idea.
I got no idea either.
Let's
Is
see if
that
I can
the
do
E?
some
Is
Googling
that
while you
E?
talk about it.
Is it E? No, I don't think it's E.
Ask ChatGPT. You keep running through your best bets. I'll see if I can figure out.
We just have to make an equation for it. It's a summation equation. Let's see what Chat GPT has to say. How big would the college football pyramid have to be? My guess is it will have to be 18 teams at the bottom tier. That's my guess. But my second guess is 21. And my third guess is 22. And my fourth is 19. Fifth is 20. We have 3 picks this week. For reference, the way I'm doing this, we have the pyramid, which is you would have seen on Tuesday's show. Go back and watch it to see my pyramid on Tuesday's show. The teams are ranked on a pyramid. And then I put a value for what tier they are on. Is just a point value. Then I put, are they at home or on the road? And 2.5 points is what I use for my home field advantage.
16 layers.
Exactly, which is fire.
That is really
I think
fire.
that's fate, honestly.
Is it actually exactly? Hold up. I'm going to double check this because I don't trust. So if I go 16, it says 16 layers, right? 16 plus 15.
Yeah. I mean, that looks like we're about to hit 136. How about that?
No
Cinema.
way. 100.
Cinema.
Cinema.
So we cannot add any more teams to the FBS.
Correct.
I think we also
Well, you
have to
can
do a
add. You can
pyramid.
add 17.
We have to do a pyramid.
Maybe at the okay. I mean, we can work on
We
that.
can work on this as like a goofy, like when we're hanging out off air. Just like it doesn't have to be like super accurate, but just like as close as we can get.
Well, thankfully, it's going to be a majority vote for this thing, right? So Ohio State can top the pyramid.
Yeah, I would put Ohio State on top of the pyramid.
Huge. I would as well.
All right, guys, cool.
Indiana gets relegated to tier 2. That's
All
tough.
right, guys, cool. Whatever.
Anyway, my best bets. I have 3 this week, like I had 3 last week. We're not going to do counting, even though the pyramid went 5-2 last week. 5-2 is +3, so it would not even have mattered. I'm giving you my 3 best ones based off of the pyramid, and they are: I have Houston tonight on Thursday Night Football +6.
Is this one of your best bets?
This is one of my best bets.
I usually don't get this video out till tomorrow morning.
That's fine. I'll
Cool.
give you another one for bonus guys who people are watching it live, which there are a lot of you. We got about 150,000 here live
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. We'll get
solid
this one,
numbers.
and I'm sure this line will move a ton in the next 2 hours.
Yeah, as all of our people go bet it.
Yes. Houston +6 will be one of my best bets. My pyramid spread, I have Houston +1.5. It's a 4.5 point difference, and so I will take Houston +6 tonight. My other one is on Sunday with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to take Minnesota, who is a 6.5 point dog, to cover the 6.5 points. I have Minnesota as just a 4.5 point dog this weekend. Give me 9 in J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings. And then give me, surprisingly, Carolina +7
Love it.
on the road in San Francisco. They don't have to win for it to cover. Well, they don't have to win for it to cover. So I would have Carolina +4.5. I will take Carolina +7. That's a 2.5 point difference. Those are my 3 best bets. And we'll throw a fourth on there for a bonus, and I'll go ahead and include it in the best bets as well. Give me Philly -3.5. I have Philly -5.5, which sucks. I don't want to pick against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys as he is right behind me. But give me Philly -3.5 according to the pyramid. And those are my 3 picks for the week according to the pyramid. If you want the other ones, they are the games that we picked earlier. I have the Rams -7, Chicago -3, and Kansas City -3.5. But those are my 4 best bets of the week.
Let the pyramid cook. Sick. Crazy how much shorter the show is when there's not a 40-minute Mississippi State preview to kick off the show.
That's what it was. I was sitting here thinking, like, why was today's show much shorter? It's partly because of that. I think we also just kind of rattled through the college football previews.
We had tangents, too.
Yeah, we did.
We did have the
and
tangent.
it didn't matter. The state preview really is just about a fifth of the show every week, which
And,
is like not
and
a bad
next
thing.
week, we got to do 2 state previews. One where Kamario starts and one where he doesn't.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but I think we know who's starting.
I don't think so either.
It probably will be. I mean, this will be a good preview. I hope we're previewing it in Lane Kiffin as like,
One
taking
foot out the
another
door.
job. Yeah.
He's not going to... He won't actually go to Florida until after the playoffs. So...
I don't think they're talking about it that way if that wasn't what's going to happen. I don't think
I think they just
this
want to
many.
know. I think they want to know so that Ole Miss can start to conduct their interview process.
No, but they
And
feel the
Florida
same
wants
way.
to know because Florida
Florida-
doesn't want to get left in a lurch where after the interview, suddenly in January, Lane Kiffin goes,
Right.
Oh,
but
I'm
you
actually
can-
going to
He can
LSU.
still finish out his
Okay.
Ole Miss season.
But early National Signing Day
Mm-hmm.
is, 2 or 3 days after the Egg Bowl. It's Monday, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
That's why they want to know. That's why I think Florida or LSU, whoever it is, well, I guess right now actually LSU, they want him there for the early National Signing Day.
Why? Signing
So
day
he can
doesn't mean
convince
anything.
recruits.
Signing day doesn't mean anything. You can flip.
And Old Miss
It
would
still
like
does
to.
mean you're not going to convince a bunch of people to flip. You can maybe convince 1 or 2 after the day to change
It matters
their
to
mind.
Florida too. All they care about is recruiting classes.
And you got to build relationships and stuff too.
I agree.
I mean, A&M's trying to work to flip a 4-star edge from Florida right now, and
Ole
personally, I
Miss-
would love them
Yeah.
to take forever to find a coach.
I think that Ole Miss would be okay knowing. Florida would be okay if he signed a contract that said, after Ole Miss's last game, I will be the head coach of Florida. And I don't think they're going to get him to sign anything
I don't
else.
think Ole Miss is okay with that. though.
I think Ole Miss is too. I think Ole Miss is okay with that because they get their coach in the Egg Bowl, they get their coach in the playoffs,
But
and then they can already start conducting interviews. They can start looking for guys because they know they're going to have an opening.
I don't feel that way. I don't think this many people would be talking about Kiffin not coaching in the playoff if that wasn't the reality we're heading towards.
I don't think that.
And I think Kiffin. I think the longer we wait at the same time, the more likely it is Kiffin leaves.
really.
Because at this point, what is he gaining by waiting? Like, I get initially you're going to wait because you want leverage,
Yeah.
right? But at this point, all the biggest jobs that are open.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss, I'm sure, you've already had your
I don't know.
leverage
Alabama
in
job
that
hasn't come
sense.
open yet.
They've probably given you an initial offer, and Ole Miss has come back and countered and been like, here's what we can do.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like for the most part, all of his offers are on the table. So if he did really just want to stay and was just using the other jobs as leverage, I think he would have signed. He could still end up staying.
Yeah.
If
There's
it-
also
but-
maybe there's an outside shot. He's interested in the LSU job, and he just is waiting for all the weird, goofy stuff going on there to die down.
I mean,
I'm
it's
just throwing that
chance.
out there as a possibility.
There's a rumor he was in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
He was in Baton Rouge. There is no rumor.
He was.
Oh, he was just visiting.
he was seen in video
Witt. He was just visiting Witt.
or in photo. Even he was there. You're right.
I saw him in photo.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. There was a photo. So you're right. It wasn't just rumor. He was
He's just
legitimately
visiting
there.
Witt. It's fine. Doesn't mean anything.
But that's what I'm saying. At this point, like, if you really just wanted to stay at Ole Miss, how have you not signed the contract? I'm sure they've already put in front of you.
I don't know.
I know. He's not staying.
I
think so,
will
too.
believe that he is leaving once he is left,
As everyone should.
just because we've been here before.
But if
He-
you had to predict right now, what would you predict?
I would predict him staying so as not to jinx it.
But that's not truthful.
That's, yeah. We don't care about jinxing here.
I
We care about jinxing next Friday, but not
True.
about jinxing.
I can't believe we are a week and a day from that. But also, he came out to deny that the freaking mandate or whatever Ole Miss gave about how we need to know was all fake. Did you see that?
What evidence does he have?
He can just go on the air and say that, and everyone will just be like, "Oh, okay." It's not like he was like, "Look at this text."
Yeah, but if it comes out that he just lied about it, I just feel like why would he lie about that?
Because it helps him out.
How does he still has to tell Ole Miss in the next week?
Yeah, but it still gives him a little more time.
He's trying to protect public image too.
Yeah.
Except
Everyone in
if
that
he
si-
comes out the next week and says something, everyone will know that it was because Ole Miss said we need an answer, and then because everyone knows that, they'll know he lied.
No
on-
one's gonna care he lied though. It's part of the business.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Will anyone care?
No, not actually, but it doesn't gain him anything.
Wherever he goes, the fans will be
But
happy.
what is him? What is him saying? Yes, this is what they said. How does that help him either?
Because that's what's happening. Like, it doesn't
But honesty
hurt him.
doesn't help here.
But
All
it
it does
doesn't
is
hurt.
going to panic your team that you currently are still coaching.
They already know that that's happening. I assume they do, unless they're hiding it from the entire team. And then if it comes out that
Panics your fan base.
they know it, they're already panicked, bro.
They're panicking more. But if he comes out and says, "Yeah, I have to make a decision by next week's Egg Bowl," the panic meter goes boom. It's up to a 10.
I think the panic meter is already up there.
I don't think the panic meter's at a 10.
Oh! Before we get off, I did want to talk about this tweet from Texas because it's one of the funniest things.
Like
I-
their football account?
Not their football account, and a Texas,
Oh, no.
a Texas fan account. It's which plays. I don't know. It's a 4th and 1. Georgia goes for it on 4th and 1 in the third quarter, and this is Nash Talks Texas. Couple of last thoughts on this play. Kirby Smart is an absolute psychopath. It shows the respect he has for this Texas team. He knew this was when they needed to flip momentum and go for the kill. If it doesn't go Georgia's way, Texas is in prime position to take the lead. And then he commented in his own tweet and said, going for the onside kick was him cementing that respect. Fail, and you give Texas prime position to get themselves back into the ballgame as opposed to making us drive down the field. He knew that Texas wasn't dead yet and could rise off the mat, twist, and pull the dagger. Is that not one of the most copium things?
Yeah, it's crazy copium.
Georgia's up 2 positions. You scored 10 points in 3 quarters. I don't think Georgia was afraid of you. I don't think Georgia was afraid of your offense suddenly rising from the dead, from the grave, and dropping 21 on them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It was
It's
just one of-
crazy copium. It's pretty funny. Most Texas fans don't even agree with him on that.
Yeah,
It's just funny.
one of the funniest things I've seen.
I'm excited to play him next week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, it should be.
What time is it?
We're gonna
Friday?
have to, yeah,
Friday.
I think we're gonna have to do a double show Tuesday.
I agree. Ooh, I actually leave town Tuesday. Could we do Monday?
We can do a double show Monday. Sure.
Yeah. Why do we need a double show?
Well, because we typically record on Thursday, and I will be eating mashed potatoes and mac and cheese and pie
Yeah,
and ham
yeah.
I'll be watching
on a
Dak
Thursday.
Prescott.
Yeah,
So
that's fine with me. We'll
Cool.
figure it out. Bro, we're getting close to 100 episodes. This is episode 89.
shout out episode 89.
It's not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah, we should be at 200 by now.
Yeah,
Agreed.
what are we doing? We should be doing every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
A weeknight podcast.
Solo episodes from each person.
I don't understand the TikTok
on
algorithm.
on the off days.
Don't understand the algorithm at all. TikTok algorithm makes zero
Clearly,
sense.
Steelers fans don't want to see Will Howard.
Yeah,
is what I'm
apparently
learning.
not. Should have used a more rage baity, clickbaity title for that.
I think we just need to do the predictions thing again somehow. I don't know,
Yeah.
because those did well.
We can start next season's predictions. Our mid-season, next season prediction.
The Kansas City
Yeah.
Chiefs in 2 years, led by DJ Lagway, will go.
Mahomes is
man.
going to be a
All right,
Jet.
let's get out of here.
Let's do it.
Thanks to all who tuned in. Trail to 100. We apologize for getting your name wrong.
Yeah.
It is not Trailito. We don't know where that came from, but thanks for
No,
chiming in
it's
in
not
the chat.
Trelito, it's Trelito.
Yes.
Thanks for chiming in the chat. Thanks to anyone who listened along. As always, it means a lot, and we'll be back for y'all Sunday to recap these games we just talked about. I don't know why that was so hard for me, but it was. Peace. See y'all. Love. Joy. Goodbye.
See ya.